You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
It's not a thing.
No, exactly. I was thinking maybe it's a Los Angeles. Maybe Los Angeles just really cares about it.
No,
but
I know no Kings fans that subscribe to that.
It cracked me up when he said, "Come on, you really don't believe there's something more to this? That it's not just a coincidence, or it's more than just a coincidence."
Well,
yes,
no,
it's absolutely. It's a supernatural curse. That's got to be what it is.
Yeah, no. God was a Kings fan, got pissed off at Jacques Demers in 1993, and was like, "Never again."
Oh my God!
But yeah, no. It's like, he was like, "You really don't think this and this is all coincidence?" And like, the only thing you mentioned that's even vaguely curse-like is Dwayne Rollison blowing out his knee in 2006, and they almost won that series anyway. So no.
I don't know how you can watch sports if you believe that there can be such a thing as a curse like that. Then what's the point? Because
we should
clearly,
save this for the show. We should say this is good stuff for the show. Actually,
we're rolling actually.
Oh,
so
okay,
we don't need to save it. We're here with it. Yes, we're rolling. The show has begun, and like always, we're talking hockey. But and that's a good thing. I didn't mean that to sound like it wasn't a good thing. But yeah,
all this hockey, God.
Yeah, it's been awful.
No one even likes it in America. Why do we talk about it?
Well, not to mention the fact that these playoffs have just been such a colossal snooze fest.
Bore.
I mean, geez.
I mean, ESPN put out this tweet the other day that said, when they had people judge, well, who's been more exciting, NHL or NBA? I was surprised to see that the NHL got 62%.
Yeah, but it was only 62%. Only 62%, though. You see, that's the thing.
Yeah. Well,
if the playoffs were truly exciting, it would have been 85, 90%.
If more than 10 people in America cared about hockey, you know.
Well, but
I mean, what have we had this playoffs aside from a team coming back from a 3-0 deficit and another team rallying from a 3-1 deficit?
Well,
I mean,
let's see.
That's just boring.
We had a series in the opening round where a 3-1 lead was about the worst thing you wanted to have happen to your team.
Yeah, oh, God.
I mean, it's just been the only series that I felt up to this point wasn't very interesting was Rangers-Flyers.
Yeah.
That one was kind of boring. And then I think that Rangers-Penguins wasn't terribly exciting either, although it did get good in Game 7. But that I will say this, what is up with the Pittsburgh crowds? I mean, besides the fact that they show up dressed in piss yellow to their games, it's like they just don't care to be there.
Did you see disappointed Stanley Cup Penguins child?
Yes, that was great.
Oh God!
But
yeah,
I think that these playoffs have just been tremendous. Other than the snoozer of a game or a series here or there, but for the most part, God, I mean, even Minnesota made it interesting against the Blackhawks, which I didn't think that. I mean, they were kind of in it.
Nobody thought that was going to be nearly as close as it ended up being.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, let's start with these playoffs. Let's start in the East. Let's talk about that 3-1 comeback that Mike so valiantly and boldly predicted.
And that Greg said, "Oh, this Pittsburgh team's going to just work these Rangers over. They'll win it in 5."
Yeah, I thought Henrik Lundqvist was going to be good for 2 Rangers wins and was going to go 6. Turns out he was good for an extra 1.
And
because
you know what?
He's pretty damn good when it comes to Game 7s.
Yes, when you play Henrik Lundqvist in Game 7, you're going to score 1 goal, and then that's going to be it.
Yep. If you score 2, you're going to win because the Rangers are probably not going to score any. But
he only ever surrenders 1.
Well, no, his goals against average in 6 Game 7s is now 1, and he's let up 1 goal in all but 2 of them, where 1 he let up 2 and the Rangers lost, and then the other 1 he posted a shutout. And he's 5-1 in Game 7s.
I will say this, from what little I've gathered about the Montreal Rangers series coming up, based on their regular season performance, I wouldn't expect a lot of high-scoring games in this because there were, I believe, 4 goals total scored in the 4 games they played against each other.
Yeah,
and one of those goals was in a shootout, I believe.
It was an overtime penalty shot.
Or an overtime penalty shot, okay. So, but I'm surprised that they made it. I really, just based on the way they were playing against Philadelphia, who I didn't think was a very good team either, I just didn't
Philadelphia didn't even know what they were doing in the playoffs. They were like, we made it? Okay. Like,
and,
yeah.
But seriously, with Pittsburgh and their crowd, am I the only one that noticed that their crowd just wasn't in it at all for the most part?
I don't know. I think with Pittsburgh, and this is part of some of the issues they're going to face in the offseason, they have an expectation because they have so much talent on their team. I don't think they concern themselves too much with these lower games, especially against teams that, on paper, the Penguins are much more talented than Columbus or the Rangers. But if they don't play well, or if the other team devises a scheme to keep Sidney Crosby off the score sheet, 1 goal in 13 playoff games. By the way.
I think 2 teams have done that remarkably well up to this point.
I mean, you just need to keep Crosby off the score sheet, and you can do that just by annoying him, basically. You just send one of your goons to harass him.
Yeah,
and then
he was frustrated as hell.
And then you just got to pepper Marc-Andre Fleury with shots, and guess what? He's going to let a lot in because he
eventually
sucks.
He's going to break. Well, because it was funny because at the beginning of the series, he posted those back-to-back shutouts.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, well, God, if Marc-Andre Fleury gets hot, what are the Penguins going to do? And then 2 games later as well, guess what? He's still Marc-Andre Fleury. He showed his flash of brilliance, and now he's back to being Marc-Andre Fleury. Letting in 3 goals a night.
What I found hilarious were Penguins fans going, it's like, oh, where are all the Fleury criticisms now, back-to-back shutouts, and then he lets in like 4 goals, 3 goals, 5 goals, like the final 3 games. It's they are.
I was so disappointed in Game 7 that the play where Ole Mata brought the puck back into the crease.
Yeah.
And caught up at his feet. I was so sad that didn't go in. Just so that someone could gif that forever and be like, if someone ever said, well, Marc-Andre Fleury's elite, just post that gif of him just, oh shit, oh no, crap. It's
in the World Juniors. When he was in the World Juniors playing for Canada, he scored on himself in the gold medal game. So
that's the thing about that series, though. If you look at it at the beginning of it, the Rangers were having a hell of a lot of trouble scoring. Marc-Andre Fleury's posting shutouts, and you think, okay, that's the end of the run. But a 3-1 deficit, and they came back. I got to give them credit.
I think it's a couple things. I think first off, it's Henrik Lundqvist.
Yeah,
he was fantastic in those final 3 games. And the second thing, and somebody asked this question today that was on something I was listening to, and I want to see what you guys think. I think a lot of it had to do with Martin St. Louis' mom dying. And it gave them something to rally around and a player to rally around. And he played great in the final 2 games.
Yeah.
And the rest of the team kind of was like, well, we got to win this one for Marty. And I don't know if – I mean, this is terrible to say.
Oh, God.
But I don't – if Martin St. Louis' mom doesn't die, do the Rangers have anything to rally around?
You know what? I agree with that. I'll tell you why. Because the team – I think they've got talent on that team, but they never struck me as a team. They struck me as, okay, the first line's out there, and there's 3 guys in the first line, 2 defensemen, but they never struck me as – and I hate to keep using the Blue Jackets as an example, but you could tell that win, lose, or draw, it was a united effort on their part. Mm-hmm. And I never saw that with the Rangers, so yeah, maybe this is what it took, unfortunately. But maybe they're finally becoming like you said, it gave them something to rally around and work together as a unit, because I just didn't see a lot of that with them. I mean,
and who's to say that it even carries on into the next round against Montreal?
It's going to be an interesting series, because I didn't think Montreal would get past Boston. I'm glad they did, but I didn't think they would.
I called that one.
I was wrong on all of them, and except Chicago.
Yeah,
I got that one
you're wrong
right.
on a lot of things, Greg.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
I heard a lot of people who just refused to give Montreal a chance against Boston. I heard done in 6. I heard done in 5. I heard, the Bruins are just going to run all over them. And
Montreal gave Boston the toughest test of anybody else in the regular season.
Yeah,
they played them extremely well during the regular season. They were a terrible matchup for them.
Yeah,
and the Bruins had the 3-2 lead in the series, but when Montreal needed a big win, they would go and get the big win. I mean, they got the big win in Game 1. They got that big 4-0 win in Montreal in Game 6. And then they go and win that Game 7. They were the better team throughout the series.
They were the better
team. Won that series.
They were the better team throughout the series. And you look at it, and Boston had a 3-2 series lead at one point, but realistically, it probably Boston was lucky to have that because Montreal collapsed in Game 2. They had a 3-goal lead, and they collapsed in Game 2, and the Bruins ended up winning that by a goal.
Right, and then the game they won in Boston or in Montreal, it was a 0-0 game going.
Yeah, it was in overtime. So it's like if Montreal holds on in Game 2, and then if it just tips the other way in that other game, then Montreal has it in a sweep. So Boston just they played above their. Boston was the one playing above their station, not Montreal. I thought.
Did you see what happened in the handshake line?
I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Milan Lucic is a piece of garbage.
He's such a bitch.
He's such a bitch. So they're going through the handshake lines, and everyone's just good series, good luck, good series, good luck. Lucic decides to go out of his way to talk to Dale Weiss,
who scored 2 goals,
and Alexei Emelin.
Yeah.
And according to Bruce Arthur of the National Post in Canada, what Lucic said to both of them was, "I'm going to fucking kill you next year." Which is good to say when you're on the losing side of a 7-game series. So kudos to you, Milan.
Here's the thing, Milan, and I think I brought this up with the whole Shane Doan thing last year when he decided to be a bitch in the handshake. Not last year.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah, when Shane Doan was a bitch in that handshake line in the Western Conference Finals. When I was in high school playing hockey, and we did the handshake thing after every game because it builds sportsmanship. Anyway.
Right.
Anyway.
High school.
Yeah. Anyway, after a particularly hard-fought game where we managed to pull out a victory against a really tough team, a couple of our guys, myself included, we were trash-talking in the handshake line. And our coach just laid into us over it. It's like, that's not the place to do it. You're supposed to be good sportsmanship, and you embarrass the team by doing it, and blah, blah, blah. Point being, we were 15, 16. Okay.
I'd argue Milan Lucic has the mental capacity of a 15 or 16-year-old.
Yeah, exactly, though. But it's like, God damn it, when we're teenagers, that's drilled into you that kind of crap is not cool. And you have grown men now who want to trash talk. Oh, come on. You're supposed to be better than that.
Alexei Emelin, by the way, one of the guys that Milan said he's going to fucking kill next year. Earlier in the season, Milan Lucic, remember in these playoffs, Milan Lucic did the little shots at the groin?
Yeah.
He did that to Alexei Emelin during the regular season.
Oh, wait, this was the same guy that did the shot to the groin to the Detroit guy?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
thinking no one would see him.
Right, and he's also a guy that got into a fight outside of a Vancouver bar when they were in Vancouver earlier this year. But he said, all these guys jumped me. I'm less inclined to believe that, Milan. I think you're just a jackass.
Yeah.
Of all the things, it's one thing, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I don't remember. But I remember, I think it was when the Ducks won the Cup, because that's the last time we beat the Red Wings. Chris Chelios skipped the handshake line against us.
That's a douche move.
Bitch.
Right. So, and that's a douche move. I've seen when the Rangers and Devils played each other, and Sean Avery was a Ranger. Sean Avery didn't shake Martin Brodeur's hand, skipped him.
Yeah, didn't he call him fat?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Well, what's interesting is that Martin Brodeur lost something like 50 pounds that offseason.
Well, it's Sean Avery. I mean, I wasn't even following hockey back then, but even I can tell you that's just how he is.
Right.
I just thought it funny though that Martin Brodeur actually took that to heart and hit the gym hard that offseason.
But here's my thing.
Calls me fat, will he?
If you're going to be that much of a dick, just skip the handshake line, pull a Chris Chelios, and don't go.
Yeah.
If you really don't want to show that you have respect for the other team, don't put on your happy face and just say, "Oh yeah, good game, good game, good game. You're a piece of shit. Good game, good game." And then of course when somebody went, because Weiss said this to Bruce Arthur, so then somebody goes over to Milan and says what he thought of it. He's like, he's a big baby for talking about that. What stays on the ice stays on the ice. It's like no. It's like, did you think it's the same thing with the nut shot? When he looked around and saw, well, I don't see anyone. Do you not think that there's cameras? That people aren't watching what you're doing?
That people aren't that there aren't cameras in a playoff game.
Right. People aren't going to see what you did and ask you about it and maybe punish you for it.
Well, and you got to think, too, after the shot against the Detroit guy, the director, a good director, is going to be paying particularly close attention to this guy in any situation where he could, behave poorly again.
Right.
So, yeah, they're going to catch the whole handshake thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was stupid. But now we have an Eastern Conference final between the red, white, and blue
and the
blue, blanc, and rouge. The New York Hockey Rangers and Le Club de Hockey des Canadiens.
We have ourselves a fantastic uniform matchup here. Mm-hmm. Outstanding.
You know what? Two red, white, and blue teams, but two teams that make those schemes look entirely different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the Rangers are blue and Montreal's red, basically.
Yeah. But beautiful uniform matchup. As Greg alluded to, this probably won't be a high-scoring game. Lundqvist has been playing out of his mind, and Carey Price has been playing very solidly this
matchup
playoffs.
Of the gold medal game over in Sochi between and Price.
It's a repeat of that. Yep. So
I think it's going to be a great series.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
And I think Montreal gets back to their first Cup final since 1993.
I got to agree with that.
The only thing is, if Lundqvist can keep this momentum up, then he's going to be hard to beat.
Sure, but that's going to be it. Because I think that emotional charge that I talked about against the Penguins, I don't think that carries over to the next series. If it does, it doesn't carry them for the full series.
Has Rick Nash defrosted yet?
I think the Rangers fans have stopped booing him.
That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, that's a positive move for him. But I just don't know if the Rangers can be that cohesive for another series. Mm-mm. Because realistically, Philly was lucky to be in the playoffs, especially how they started the season, and they still went 7 against them. They didn't seem too particularly interested in being in the playoffs either. And then you go against Pittsburgh, who choked away the game, and then they had the emotional surge and a good play of Lundqvist. Lundqvist is going to have to do it pretty much on his own. I think if the Rangers win this, it probably is in 6, because I don't know if they could win a Game 7 in Montreal. But I think Montreal could win this thing in 5.
Montreal's got a very cohesive team. That is the flip side to that. It's going to have to fall on Carey Price, though. Carey Price has been playing very well this postseason, and he's going to have to keep that up. Price has a bit of a reputation as being someone who chokes come the postseason, and he's dispelled that.
He's played great. He's played very, very well.
He's dispelled that so far, but he's got to keep that up. And if Price can keep his game at the level it's been at, then I would agree. Canadians in 5 is probably likely.
Yeah, I'm with that. Canadians in 5.
So the cursey Barney McSorley coming closer to being an end.
Oh, the curse of Marty McSorley. I don't even think Marty McSorley gives a shit, really.
See, here's the thing. How is that a curse? Here's the other thing of why it's not a curse. If it was the curse of Marty McSorley, the Canadians would have lost that series.
Yeah.
They won the series. It's not like they sold their soul to the devil so they could get Marty McSorley's stick checked.
Also, I want to point out, Marty McSorley's stick was illegal. So it's not like the Los Angeles Kings, face some grievous wrong. No, rules of the game. He should have gotten a penalty. As simple as that. So I don't see where the hubbub. I don't see how it's a curse. I don't see anything really. That whole thing is the dumbest. It's the dumbest hockey superstition I've ever heard, because I'm partly convinced it's not a superstition.
So as we go further along in the playoffs, Mike, are the Montreal Canadiens catching the imagination of the Canadian public?
I want to say to an extent. I've seen Leafs fans who this last series, between Boston and Montreal, to Leafs rivals, and you had people who were kind of really pulling for the Habs in that one. You didn't get a lot of, I kind of hope both teams die or anything. No, you got people who wanted to see Montreal win.
Well, I think that might have something to do with maybe you see more of a mutual respect for Montreal
Yeah, whereas Boston
you just hate.
Yeah. I do think there is that mutual respect thing, and I also think it comes back to the fact that the Canadians are one of hockey's legacy teams. They're hockey's Yankees, if you will, and it's always cool to see historically good teams be good again after a period of not being good. It's why a lot of people kind of jumped on Notre Dame's bandwagon when they made it to the national title game a few years back.
Yeah.
Right. It's unheard of for Montreal to go this long without even making the final.
No, indeed. When 2010 hit, the 2000s became the only decade in the Canadiens' existence in which they didn't win at least one Stanley Cup.
Wow.
So, and granted, I was actually hoping the Canadiens would have won one before their 100th anniversary ran out, because I thought that would have been cool, like 25 cups in 100 years. That's a nice round number. But it didn't happen. But you know what? The Canadiens winning wouldn't be too bad. Truth be told, now that the Bruins are out, there's no team left that I just absolutely despise.
That's where I'm at.
So it's like...
I have one.
Yes. Yes. We will get to that.
But okay, so that's the East.
Yeah,
Montreal, New York.
Yeah, I think Montreal wins easily.
Yeah.
Of course, I said that about Pittsburgh, so who knows?
Well, it's clearly that Greg knows nothing about hockey.
Well, I got some predictions right.
Yeah. In the West, let's get the other original six team into the fold. Chicago.
Your repeat Stanley Cup champions.
You're defending Stanley Cup champions.
And soon to be, yeah.
You know what? You can predict all you want on that front, Greg. Go for it. You're just sealing the Blackhawks' death wish.
The only series I got wrong so far was the New York-Pittsburgh series. That's it.
Well, we'll get to it in a second, but you promised me last night.
Well, what can I
Actually, I'm gonna pull up the exact wording, because I believe you said count on it or something like
Here,
that.
I'll tell you what I said. I said that the Ducks would seal the deal.
Mm-hmm. I hope you're right, and then you say I am. I'll brag about it tomorrow on the show. So that's pretty much a guarantee. It's fine. You're no Mark Messier.
No.
But no, it's hard to be. But anyway.
I don't want to have a Game 7. I don't know if I'd make it out the other side, win or lose. They seal the deal tonight. The Kings are out of mojo. I hope you're right, man. I don't want to offend the hockey gods and speak out of turn. I am. I'll brag about it tomorrow on the show.
You offended the hockey gods.
I apparently did.
Yeah. You have to sacrifice a goat.
Or something, yeah.
Before the game tomorrow.
I'll let you choose which one of my cats I have to sacrifice.
Well, I mean, the King's mascot is Bailey, which is a lion, which is a cat.
It worked last year for Andy because he was, well, of course, then again, see, you weren't on the ledge of the building with this like Andy was.
I'm close.
And so Andy was just, and it was on Facebook too. He was, how he loses his mind. I said, you got nothing to worry about. They're going to win this. They're going to win Game 6, and that's that.
Well,
and he said the same thing. I hope you're right. I don't. And I said, no, I'm right. Trust me, I'm right. And I thought, well, hell, it worked last year. It'll work again. Apparently not.
I'm trying, especially with this series, because I know so many hockey fans that are Kings or Ducks fans on Facebook, and then the boards can get a little ornery. I'm trying to not
be West Coast Andy.
Well, it's not just that. It's not that, but I don't want to put every single turn of my emotion on the internet, because I know for a fact it's just going to be terrible. I'm going to start out if I was posting every minute of my thoughts about the games, it would be probably more schizophrenic than what Andy was putting up. And so I'm just trying to stay back and not cause any rifts. Just kind of internalize it and just deal with it, because this is the most emotionally draining series I've ever been a part of.
I can imagine it would be. Yeah,
it's hard because, and so many people are like, don't worry, it's going 7, and it's I can't just sit back there and not worry and just wait till Game 7. This is the series that everyone in Southern California has been waiting for 20 years.
Well,
and now it's here, and now we're going to Game 7. And I'm not neither team should be too overly confident about their ability in Game 7, because it's really one of those things that You could win, you could lose. You won't know until the final horn sounds on Friday.
That's the thing. Game 7s are you got to throw everything out. There's just, you know what I mean? You can't. You just don't know.
You could throw everything out for this whole series because home ice advantage has meant nothing. Different. Really, almost every single game has been won or lost based on bounces. It's not one team dramatically outplaying the other one. It's the goalie being hot or the puck bouncing one direction or the puck hitting a post or somebody falling down or whatever. It's just these small little mistakes that end up determining the game. And it's really amazing how evenly these teams have played. And, of course, that makes sense now that they've won the first 3 games. And now, I'm sure if they played 9, it would probably go to game 9. If it was a 13-game series, they'd go to game 13. it would just go like that. It's –
Yeah, and to the person without a horse in the race, like, say, me or Mike, this is just a great series because of that, it's so evenly matched that it's a bounce here, a bounce there. But I got to think – when you're right in the middle of it like you are, it's got to be sheer hell.
It's rough. Like I told a lot of people, Friday's going to be a torture chamber.
Yeah.
Win or lose, I'm going to be drained. And the thing that sucks about that is you're going to go through this whole series and just be dead after it. That even if you win, it's like, oh yeah, your reward. You got to play the Blackhawks tomorrow. So get ready for that. It's like, but I just can't. We just beat them, and now we gotta go. Come on,
yeah,
give us an extra day or something.
Kind of wish the Wild had won that series now, huh?
I kind of wish the Wild had won at least Game 6 and taken that thing to 7. But that's the way that was going to play out. I thought Minnesota was going to win Game 6 just because they've won all their home games, but I never thought they were going to win the series. But, Patrick Kane, just his hands are electric. That goal he scored in overtime to win it was
That's the thing that scares me about the Blackhawks is their key players, they're producing at all the right times. I mean, it goes into overtime. You could pretty much count on Taves or Kane to win it for them.
I think they said there's been 8 games won, and so 8 game-winning goals, and I think 7 of them have been from either Kane or Taves.
Yeah, oh God.
I think that's like I thought I read that somewhere too.
Yeah,
but it's people, everybody, all of us sports fans, we all want to win that championship, and that's perfectly understandable. But I think that what people don't realize when your team is in it, until you've actually got the championship, it's agony. It's not fun. It's agony.
And sometimes it depends. Like when I think back on the Ducks winning the Cup in 2007. It was actually a pretty easy road. There wasn't a whole lot of hemming and hawing about it. The first round we beat Minnesota in 5. The second round we beat Vancouver in 5. Then the conference final was the only real kind of toss-up when you're playing Detroit. And after they won Game 5 in overtime in Detroit, I was like, well, okay, they're going to win this one. And then they played an Ottawa team that just laid down for them in the Cup final. So that wasn't too difficult, but I guess if I think all the way back to the Angels winning in 2002, that was a grind. And once they finally won, it was kind of relief. Like, they won. This is great. But you get to look back fondly on those things. Whereas
when you're going through it, it's not fun.
No,
you think it would be the greatest thing ever, but it's not. I remember when Ohio State played Miami in 2002. Going up to the game like, this is great, national championship. No one expected us to be here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The game came on, and all I could think about was, I can't wait until this is over because it's killing me watching this.
Yeah.
Especially when it was close. I guess maybe that's what I should have added to this. When it's tight and your team is in it, it's not fun. That's
the other thing with this series is how tight it's been. Like, the Ducks went up 4-1 in Game 5. And I thought that was going to be like, okay, we're going to cruise through this. And then I thought about it for another 5 minutes. I'm like, no, this thing's not over yet. And, of course, the Kings scored a power play goal at the end of the second. And then it's 4-2. And you're like, oh, well, they can score 2 goals in a period. And then, 5 minutes into the third, they score the second goal. And literally, the towels they gave out, I'm thankful they gave those out. Because I'm not even kidding you. For the final 5 minutes of the game.
You cried into your towel?
No, I had it clenched between my teeth. I was just sitting like Jerry Tarkanian.
Yeah.
When I used to bite the towel.
Yep.
That was me. I just had it in my mouth, just like chewing on it, just oh my god, clear it, and it's just. And then you pull the goalie, and then you swarm the net. And they even had that last night when the Ducks were swarming the net. Pull the goalie. There's like 7 guys all standing in the crease, just shoving the puck at Jonathan Quick, and just everyone diving and flopping and getting in the way. And it's playoff hockey is the best, but it's the worst.
It's that when you're just watching it just to watch, it's awesome. But when your team is in it, especially when the series that you've got right now with the Ducks and the Kings. I can't imagine. It's just agony. It's the only way I can put it. You just, especially when it's so tight, because like you said, one bounce goes the wrong way, and hockey is a sport like that. It's not, the puck bounces the wrong way, and you could lose it all in a heartbeat. I mean, ask the Bruins last year in the finals.
Yeah, 17 seconds.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
They were ready to go to Game 7, and 2 minutes later, the whole thing was over, and the Hawks were skating around their rink with the cup. It was as simple as that.
Yep. So I'm not going to ask you, Greg, because I don't trust him anymore. Mike is with all the mojo and all the crystal ball.
I will do you a solid. I will not predict this game.
Thank you. Mike, predictions for the Battle for SoCal, Game 7, Ducks, Kings, Honda Center, Friday, 6 o'clock, which is stupid. I have to leave work an hour early.
6 o'clock your time or our time?
Yeah, 6 o'clock
our time. That would be like 3 in the afternoon for you guys. Never mind.
Yeah.
Looking at this series, again, from that neutral perspective, it's been fantastic to watch. This is tricky because home ice doesn't mean shit.
Oh, it doesn't mean anything. Like even in some of the series where like the home is a little bit farther away, it means a little bit less in Game 7. But God, I mean, both these teams are sleeping in their own beds every night. This is not a road series for anyone.
Yeah, no. Even when you're quote unquote the road team, I mean, I wouldn't even surprise me if you're building.
Yeah,
it wouldn't even surprise me if you were practicing at your own rink. Honestly,
they are.
Yeah. So it's like it's really hard to gauge in that sense.
If you want to pick the Kings, Mike, you can pick the Kings. I'll just disregard your thoughts and.
I'm gonna have to pick the Kings for no other reason than I don't know what it is, but you put this Kings team up against the wall, and suddenly everyone who couldn't give a shit suddenly gives a shit, and after what the Kings pulled off in the first round, I thought it would have emotionally depleted them, and then they would have been easy picking. But obviously, I was wrong on that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that I got to go for the Kings. I think they pull it out in a tight game, but I think they walk away winning this one.
It's funny because during the game last night, they put up a stat on the screen saying that the Kings, with Jonathan Quick, they were going into last night. They were 5-2 in elimination games. And then you think about it for a second. Well, it's like, well, they won 4 straight elimination games. So before the first round, they were 1-2 in elimination games.
Yeah.
Because the year they won the cup, they went up 3-0 in every single series.
Oh yeah, no.
They didn't have any. They didn't face any adversity that year.
That was '80s Oilers levels of dominance.
Right. But it's going to be a battle. It's probably going to be like 2-1.
Yep.
Whoever wins.
Yeah.
I hope the hell it doesn't go into overtime because I really don't know if I can take that.
Will you be at the game?
That'd be the worst thing ever for you.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm going to be in the building.
Oh my God!
It's going to be rough.
Game 7, your favorite team. You're in the building. Overtime, Game 7 in the playoffs. Oh my God!
Against your biggest rivals.
Yeah.
At my age, I'd have to stay home. I'd be like, I'm too old. I can't risk it. That's what I'd have to do.
This is only the Ducks' second home Game 7 in their history too.
What'd they do in the first one?
Well, that was last year against the Red Wings, where they completely lied down like dead dogs, and let the Red Wings come into the building and just trounce all over them. That was terrible because like it was clear from like the first 5 minutes of the game that they just didn't show up, and that was terrible because I'm not going to leave the game early, but I'm just sitting there and watching them, and it's just They're not here.
Yeah.
And it's 4-1. And I have no confidence that they're going to come back. But
that's when you just hang out in like the falafel line or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, last year they didn't have this. They have this new bar area that they opened up this year that we have tickets to. And if the game goes like that, I think I might just head down there and get my weekend started early.
Drink your sorrows away with $12 beers.
And then you'll look up at like some TV they have in a corner, and by just sheer chance, South Park will be playing, and then Zach will go into a rage.
I got to be honest. Even when it's just two teams playing that I don't give a shit about, Game 7 and overtime in Game 7 is nerve-wracking as hell when you don't have anybody in the race.
Yeah,
we've had a good playoffs here. At least the first round was intensely interesting, and then the second round was just well played.
Yeah,
the 3 Game 7s, one goes to 6. It was overtime in that Game 6, so it could have gone to 7. It's good, but. Somebody brought up the stat that, like, the second round has seen a lot of 6s and 7s, but then the conference finals, there's been a lot of teams that they work so hard to get to the conference final, and they just peter out. And a lot of these series end, like, in 4 or 5.
But I do want to point out that in the East, both Pittsburgh and Boston have been eliminated. And if Anaheim manages to win their Game 7, that means 3 of last year's Final 4 will have been eliminated, when it looks like for a moment that we might be getting a Final 4 repeat.
Right. I know. A lot of people were just giving the teams that were in the Final 4 the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks are going to win. The Kings are going to win. Pittsburgh, Boston. And thankfully, the 2 of the 3 were already wrong. So we're going to have a new team over in the East. Which I forgot to mention, whoever wins that, it'll be their first Stanley Cup final since 93 or 94.
Right.
Yeah.
It's their first Cup final in 20 years for either team. So that's a fun story.
Have the Rangers made the conference finals since, was it 96,
yeah,
97?
They lost.
It was 97.
They lost to
97
New
to Philly.
Jersey. They lost to New Jersey 2 years ago.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right, because L.A. came out of the West, and everyone was like, will we get a New York versus L.A. Stanley Cup finals? And then New Jersey had to go ruin it.
Well, we did get an L.A. versus New York.
It's just the third New York team.
The Sabres?
No. It reminded me of 2003, because you had Anaheim versus New Jersey.
Which is kind of like New York, Los Angeles.
Right, it's like, it's the top 2 media markets. Well, yeah.
It's funny that the casual fan doesn't see it quite like that.
Right. They'll be like, it's the LA market versus the New York market. It's like, well, no, it's Anaheim versus New Jersey.
Well, if you're like me and you just like to see TV get screwed, you want Montreal Anaheim for the final.
Hey, I'd love it.
That's going to be the one that's going to be really tough, a really tough sell.
But you know what? I think of a lot of the Canadian teams, you can sell Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal. If you're the network and you've got to have a Canadian team, it's Montreal or Toronto are the ones that you want. You don't want a Winnipeg. You don't want Edmonton. You don't want Calgary.
Could you imagine if somewhere down the road we had a Winnipeg, Ottawa Stanley Cup?
Oh,
I don't think I'd even watch that.
I'd love it. I would absolutely love it.
It would be Canada's wet dream, but would we care?
Would they even air it down here?
Yeah, they have to.
I think they're
bound by contract.
In place of airing the 2017 Stanley Cup Finals, we're going to go back and show you the 1983 Finals with the New York Islanders and the Edmonton Oilers.
No. Could you imagine, say, Buffalo, Ottawa, and then, Edmonton, Winnipeg for your Final Four?
Ugh. Florida, Ottawa.
Florida, Ottawa. No, it was actually great. It was actually great. On the boards, a Senators fan was lamenting about how there's so many original 6 teams in the Final Four, and I just was like,
I know
okay.
It's not technically the original 6. The
No.
6 means nothing.
No. I didn't want to go into that, but I was like, look, it's like, I'm sorry if Canadians, Maple Leafs, and Hawks, Wings are still the rivalries that get fans interested. And then I tried to list some other some really blatant non-original 6 rivalries. So I'm like, I'm sorry, nobody cares about Nashville, San Jose, or Ottawa. And then I tried to think of an Ottawa rival who wasn't original 6 because they've got the Leafs and Canadians, but I didn't want to use them. So I couldn't think of anyone. So I'm just like Ottawa, against whoever. I'm sorry, Ottawa against whoever doesn't inspire excitement.
Every so often on the boards, the teams in sports that are irrelevant comes up, and to me in the NHL, and we're talking about a league with the Florida Panthers and a few others. To me, the team that I forget even exists is the Ottawa Senators.
See, I can't go that far because they are one of the Canadian teams, so I'm constantly reminded of their existence, and they've got a regional rivalry with the Maple Leafs, so I never forget Ottawa exists, but I will admit there have been times where I kind of forget Florida. Like, there is a team called the Florida Panthers.
But that's my thing. If you said, name me the Canadian hockey teams right now, I'd get all of them, and then I'd have to sit, and it would take me 15 minutes to go, oh, yeah, Ottawa.
You remember Winnipeg above Ottawa?
Winnipeg, let me see, it would be Vancouver, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Calgary, Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa, right?
Yep.
Did I leave anybody out?
I think that's it.
Okay, but if you
seven teams.
Talking about it now, I can do that. But if you caught me, say, next Wednesday, just out of the blue and said, name me the 7 Canadian teams, I'd get 6. And I'd forget about Ottawa.
And then you'd throw in the Quebec Nordiques.
Yeah. I think if the Nordiques came back, I think I'd have to make them at least one of my favorite teams, just because. I loved them back in the day because I just loved their jerseys.
Well, I don't know if the Nordiques are coming back, guys, but apparently Gary Bettman was in Seattle, so.
Give me my Nordiques back. Come on. What would we
name Seattle? What do we want to call them?
Honestly,
Would you go back in the Wayback Machine and grab the Seattle Mets?
I would, but then again, I just think I think there's no other choice. The Seattle Mets were the first American team to win a Stanley Cup, so I think that name's got some historical currency that you got to latch onto. But
Seattle, the junior team's the Thunderbirds, and I love that name. But
that's
I don't think
name, but that's kind of a minor league name.
The junior team would give it up.
Yeah, that's kind of a minor league name too.
But they have a great logo. It's like the Pacific Northwest totem pole look.
I'm thinking the Seattle Rainiers after the mountain.
Wasn't that a baseball team?
Yeah, the Tacoma Rainiers, I believe. Who I was almost going to go see this summer, but changed my mind. Seattle not quite Supersonics.
No. They should call them the Supersonics and be like, hey, Seattle, the Sonics are back.
What did you say, Mike? The Pilots?
The Pilots, yeah.
After the old baseball team?
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Only if they put, instead of those things that they had on the brim of the cap, they put them on the shoulders.
The scrambled eggs things there, yeah.
I don't know what I would call them.
I think Pilots isn't bad. What was yours, Zach? The Thunderbirds?
Oh, yeah, but that's the junior team. The one that Greg Wyshynski, the editor of Puck Daddy, likes to throw around is the Seattle Sasquatch.
Nah. I hate singular names like that. Sasquatches, that'd be fine. But
are there multiple Sasquatches? Big Feet?
The Seattle Big Feet. There's your name right there. The Seattle Big Feet.
Is it the Seattle Sasquatchi? Is it Sasquatchy or Sasquatchi?
Seattle Big Feet.
No, see, you couldn't do Sasquatch or Bigfoot because the Avalanche kind of got the Yeti imagery down.
That's a different breed.
The Yeti.
Yes,
are we going to get into a Yeti versus Sasquatch debate?
I think we absolutely should.
One lives in the woods.
I don't know. I like the Seattle Big Feet, but they're not going to do that.
Seattle Coyotes.
Seattle Salmon.
I think I saw a concept for that where it was just like the Phoenix Coyotes logo, colored green and black, and stuck in a Starbucks logo.
What would you guys think if they did, like, say, okay, they do bring back a Seattle franchise to the NHL. What would you think if they went with the Pilots and kind of even went with the old colors from the baseball team and everything else? Would you be cool
I wouldn't like the colors. I think
it'd be weird.
Okay.
Because it's a baseball team.
Yeah.
It'd be like...
Well, the Colorado Rockies didn't care when the baseball team came in. They just took the old hockey team.
Yeah, that's true.
And they took the Rockies name over a much better name. There was a group in Denver that wanted to call them I think their old AAA team was called the Denver Zephyrs.
Yeah.
And they wanted to stick with that. And they had this whole marketing thing planned out and everything, and it was really kind of cool.
What about along the lines of mountains, the Seattle Cascades?
Yeah. I think a dishwashing detergent, but that's just me.
The Seattle Emeralds.
Emeralds was one that actually popped into my head too. That's not bad.
I don't know if you can just get behind a.
How about
box.
How about screw the Pilots. How about the Seattle Aviators?
With Leonardo DiCaprio as the logo?
Sure.
The Sleepless in Seattles?
The Seattle Sleepless. There you go.
The Seattle Meg Ryans?
I know how to solve this whole problem. Put a team, bring me back my Quebec Nordiques, and leave Seattle the hell alone.
That's not going to happen, though.
I know.
There's gonna be two teams in the West.
It's going to be Seattle and Las Vegas. Just watch it happen. It's going to be absolutely terrible.
Well, because the problem is now that they made the stupid alignment, and they left the two spots open in the West.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Columbus and Detroit went east and they love it out there, which one of them are you going to sacrifice to send back out west? It's not going to happen.
I mean, I think Columbus is more eastward, but they'd probably get the shaft because Detroit has a blood pact with the NHL.
Right.
Well, yeah.
And if you do that, you're not going to just be able to move Phoenix to Quebec because then you're going to still be down a spot. I don't know.
Well, so there's going to be two teams now. Are we talking? Okay,
there's going to be two expansion teams, one way or the other. One of them, for without a doubt, if we do go expansion, it's Seattle and somebody else.
Vegas.
It's weird because nobody that I know of has a very good argument to have Vegas.
No, it's a terrible idea.
For whatever reason, it's the one that is on the top of everyone's list. Like all the reporters and stuff. Like, yeah, Vegas is on top of the NHL's list. But we don't know why.
There's no fan base to go watch them. That's the thing. I think that's what people don't get about Las Vegas is that everyone there is from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And they're not there permanently. They come in, they gamble, they go home.
We've gone over it before, but I don't know. That one still doesn't make any sense to me.
I think the NHL wants to be like the first team in Vegas, even though not realizing that there aren't teams there for a reason.
Right, they'd be the first team because nobody else wants to go.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the NFL's got a very good argument with the gambling thing that they don't. That's the biggest argument that most of the major sports make.
Right.
But I don't know.
Well, that's why you can't bet on UNLV games like in Vegas.
Right.
Because of that reason.
So
and I guess that'd be the only way to do it is you put the team there, but you can't bet on that team.
Yeah, but it's a shitty market no matter what rules you make. I think that's what they've got to understand. I don't even know what the population is, the actual permanent population of Las Vegas is.
Well, speaking of Las Vegas and hockey, they're so desperate there that the Las Vegas Wranglers, the ECHL team, their lease at the Orleans Arena, which is attached to the Orleans Hotel, runs out after this year. And they were trying to work something out with the Plaza Hotel to construct a rink on the roof of the hotel.
That is just stupid.
Right. That idea fell through, so that's not happening.
Good.
It fell through like the rink probably would have fell through the roof.
Oh God, I didn't even think of that. But yeah, that would have been a problem too.
So they're looking for someone else to play there, and hopefully they don't. The Wranglers are a good minor league team. They have a lot of cool promotions.
What if a puck goes flying off the roof?
Well, they put glass around it.
Yeah, but I'm saying a puck could get loose, go all the way off the roof, and drop down and knock somebody silly.
Well, then.
I'm not saying the odds are great, but it's got to happen at least once just so I can laugh at it. But no team in Las Vegas. Seattle, I guess I can live with, but I don't want the NHL.
Where are they going to play in Seattle? That's the problem. They have no arena.
Well,
they're going to have to build one, huh?
But they're only going to build one for a basketball team,
right?
Which doesn't seem likely.
Yeah. Here's my solution. You know what? Don't do anything. Leave the league alone because the last thing you need right now are two more teams. The talent distribution isn't that great to begin with.
No, but I know, but the NHL wants money, and
there are other ways to get money.
I know, but the way they align the league is such that it's going to happen.
The way that they did it, you see, they want money, but they could make money in the long term, hand over fist, by relocating Phoenix to Quebec. But they're not going to do that.
Right, they're not going to move Phoenix.
They're going to do what this stupid league has always done. They're going to chase the quick dollar, and they're going to get those expansion fees, and then that's going to be a quick injection of cash. But then, once these teams play out in these markets that aren't all that great, then it's going to get bad.
look at Columbus. How long? And I'm still not entirely sure that Columbus is there yet. But
Columbus makes sense.
Yeah, kinda.
And it has a lot more potential than some other places.
Well, sure, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, but you've got really there's no like geographically the closest team is what, Detroit, probably Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
they're far enough away that you can make a claim that there's a pretty good market there for it, but it's taken a long time to get people to the point where they're interested in that team, and not just the hardcore hockey fans, but they've got to maintain this, or it's going to go right back to the way it was 5 years ago.
Well, to their defense, the Blue Jackets were generally terrible.
Yes, they were, but
so I can't blame them for not showing up for a bad team.
Yeah,
and the other thing with Columbus is, because Ohio State thinks so much of their damn selves that they didn't just go halvesies on the arena.
Yeah,
Ohio State had to have their own arena.
Well, yeah,
and Columbus had to have, and the Blue Jackets had their own arena, and so you have that issue where the team would be a lot more profitable if there was only one big concert venue in town, but they decided to build two of the same thing. 5 miles from each other?
They're a little
how
further apart.
How far is
than
Nationwide
that.
from the campus?
Well, let me think. Probably about 5 miles, yeah.
Yeah.
And it might not even be that now that I think about it, because the last time when we went down to the Detroit game, we cut back up through campus just to drive by for old time's sake, and it was maybe it's probably 10 minutes, if that.
Right.
Yeah. But
it's pointless.
But the nice thing about it is, of the two arenas, having been to both of them, Nationwide is far superior. Right,
but they're still both able to house concerts.
Yes, exactly.
So, instead of everything going through Nationwide and then making more money, and not having to they shouldn't have to worry about we got to get all these people in here. If they were sharing the arena, they'd have arena dates filled by 2 teams, 3 teams, I guess, if you want to include the women's basketball team.
Well, 4 if you want to count the men's hockey team.
Oh, yeah. Does the men's hockey team play in their basketball arena?
No, actually, they play in the old. I think they play in their old arena, yeah, which is small. It's a nice little place, but yeah.
Right. But either way, you could fill all the dates that way, and then get all the concerts, and all the money would be kind of centrally located, and it'd be profitable pretty much no matter what. But you had to split up, and so you have that little issue. But I think Columbus is on the right track. They're fine. They're going to be in the league for a good while.
And I would say
they're not in danger of constantly moving like Phoenix or Florida.
No, but
hell, even Nashville was at a time.
That's the point I'm making. It took, and again, now granted they were bad for a long time, but what I'm saying is that before the Blue Jackets, no one thought of Columbus as a hockey market. I don't think. So if you throw a team into a Las Vegas, which is okay, Columbus is a better hockey market than Vegas will ever be. The point I'm making is that you're out of good markets at this point, is what I'm saying, I guess.
Right.
Unless you're going to go back to Quebec or whatever. But other than that, you're not, Portland, maybe? I don't know.
Well, if you go to Seattle, you're not going to go to Portland. Really, the only 2 good spots are Portland and Quebec. Or, sorry, Seattle and Quebec.
Right. And I'm not sure Seattle's that great.
Seattle has a lot of potential.
I'd put a team in Portland before Seattle, honestly, just because I know Portland has an arena that can actually serve as a home for an NHL team long term.
And you also have this: you've only got the Trailblazers to compete with in Portland, whereas in Seattle you've got the Seahawks, the Mariners, and
your biggest
soccer team is bigger than
the biggest competition you'd have a hockey team would have, I think, in Seattle would be that soccer team, and they just love that soccer team.
Well, but luckily for them, they play in different seasons. Soccer's in the summer.
I don't know when your heathen games play.
But when basketball comes back to Seattle, which it inevitably will,
I don't think it is. I don't think it's inevitable.
Well, I hope you're right.
If it was so inevitable that I think basketball to Seattle is like football to Los Angeles. It may never come back.
But it's always going to be hanging over their heads.
The option's going to be there. People are going to use you for leverage.
Yep.
It may not ever come back. So, but the thing, too, is the difference is, or I guess the similarity is both don't have arenas or stadiums in the football case. If Seattle gets a hockey team, they'll have the arena, and they'll have some place to put the basketball team. Whereas, first things first, they got to build the arena. And whether if the hockey team is an avenue to get to the arena that could eventually get the Sonics, I think people would be a lot more on board with the hockey team in Seattle.
Probably.
Just so much as it could get them to be a function to get the Sonics back. And when they get the Sonics back, does that mean the hockey team goes down? Possible. But maybe in the time that it takes for the basketball team to come back, they can establish enough of a fan base to where they can survive. And they that's hockey fans. They like junior hockey.
But I mean, that's what has to happen, because that city is so crazy for the Supersonics that if the Sonics make it back before the NHL makes it there, then the NHL team is just going to be fighting for scraps. The NHL team needs to make it back first so they can get in, they can establish that fan base so that when the Sonics eventually come in and everyone rushes back to the Sonics, they do have enough of a base that it won't hurt them.
Well, I guess one thing you can say about Seattle is that when they decide that when they decide to get in the corner of their team, they're very good about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they support their team, so there is that. But what about, you brought up the Sonics. What about Oklahoma City as a potential market for the NHL?
They have an arena league, an American League team down there,
right? But
it's poorly attended. It's not, and plus, there people love the Sonic or the Sonics, the zombie Sonics, the Thunder so much that that would be signing a death wish. That's
because
the AHL team gets little play as it is.
Right.
If they go up against the Thunder, well, maybe if Kevin Durant leaves, the Thunder may just be terrible pretty soon. But that wouldn't be a place for them to go.
They need to enjoy this run with the Thunder right now, because once it's over for good. It's not going to happen again, because
I don't see them having a San Antonio Spurs-like existence.
No. The NBA has proven it over and over and over again that there's a certain group of teams, and the Thunder's part of that group right now, but they're not going to remain there. And that's just the reality of it. But I don't know. I think the NHL's fine just the way it is, but leave well enough alone. That's just my opinion. We don't.
Well, we can't do that because
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to understand, if you're going to be in this hockey thing for the long haul, Greg, common sense is not this league's strong suit.
But I am totally down. If they want to bring back the Seattle Pilots and put them in hockey uniforms, I'm down with that. I'd be good with that.
Yeah.
So, are we done with the hockey talk?
I think I have some stuff in my tabs later.
Okay. I will not give.
We actually got a steroid suspension today in hockey.
Really?
Oh. Zenon Konopka of the Buffalo Sabres suspended 20 games.
Not
violating
Zenon.
the terms of the NHL NHLPA Performance Enhancing Substance Program.
Oh, I got the article.
Come on, Zenon. I thought you were better than that.
Well, there goes Buffalo's shot at whatever they have a shot at.
Yeah, I have some stuff in the tabs, but it's not.
All right. Well, let's. I will not.
Wait.
I will not make a prediction for Game 7 in the Ducks Kings series. I'll just leave it alone.
Neither will I.
I know what.
Am
I allowed to say what I would like to have happen, or is that too much too?
I think what you would like to have happen is fine, because
okay.
I mean I would like probably the same thing to happen.
I would like the Ducks to win this series.
Yes.
Okay. And one other thing I want to bring up, too, we were talking about the Final Four and all that. Our friend Headley from the boards brought up an interesting point. If the Ducks win this series, we will have an all-Bass Final Four.
Essentially.
Well, essentially. It's kind of a stretch because you've got to turn Mike into a Canadiens fan, which I don't think is going to work.
Well, your dad's a Canadiens fan, right?
My dad is a Canadiens fan, yes.
So it's in the family.
And you've got to take into account my years of Rangers allegiance up until now. Now they're like my second team, so sort of. But we will, even without Mike's Canadiens thing, we still, if this happens, we'll have three teams. We have a very good shot at keeping the cup here on the Bass compound if the Ducks win. So there's that, too, that people need to think about. And think about it a lot.
I would like it.
All right, so we're going to move on and talk about something else. Find out in just a minute. I think a Tim Hortons chocolate donut would be awesome right now. And some Timbits. A mixture. What do they call it? The variety pack of Timbits.
Mm-hmm.
Those do sound good. Maybe I'll make a drive over to Phoenix.
Hop in your car, head over to Phoenix just for some Tim Hortons.
Oh, I might do it.
Just to go to
you guys don't have a Tim Hortons at the duck pond there. Come on.
They should have a Tim Hortons in every NHL arena.
Don't you think?
They should. Yes.
Like, why is this not happened yet?
They have one in Columbus.
Tim Hortons is a league sponsor, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Kentucky Derby winner California Chrome being treated for a small blister in its throat.
Oh, they're going to put him down.
No. California Chrome is a Ducks fan. He must continue his run.
Oh, no, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is an omen.
California Chrome's a Ducks fan.
You know this is bad because as we have learned over the past couple days, sports is filled with curses and supernatural type things. So this is not a good sign.
Curse of California Chrome.
Right.
The Ducks Stanley Cup fate is tied to a horse.
If California Chrome dies, then suddenly Corey Perry will forget how to skate, and then it's just all going to go downhill.
He's a 3-5 favorite, drawing out of the 3-hole.
Oh, which one's next? Preakness, right?
Preakness, yeah.
Yeah. There will never be
those teams are. It's easier to win the Preakness, and then Belmont is the hard one because that's the really long one.
There will never be another horse like Secretariat.
No.
Never.
No, every year
awesome.
when the Kentucky Derby comes around, my grandpa tells me the stories of Secretariat all over again.
Really?
Yeah. He forgets that he tells me the story every year, but he tells me the story every year. So it's like, yeah, I know. You tell me about Secretariat. He won the field by 3 lengths. I know.
It was probably just the time, but that horse was incredibly popular. I'm trying to think of something comparable to today, but everyone was talking about that horse. He made the cover of Time magazine. I think Sports Illustrated named him the Sportsman of the Year.
Really?
He really captured the imagination of the country for some reason.
I'm not going to lie. That sounds kind of stupid.
It's just a different time. Horse racing, boxing.
Yeah.
Baseball was bigger.
Definitely.
More important, I guess I should say.
Boxing was like an Ali fight was like the Super Bowl back then.
Yeah, no. Now Floyd Mayweather fights. And you don't I don't even know Merriweather has a fight until the day of, and it's like, oh yeah, you gonna watch the fight tonight? I'm like, oh,
yeah, it's just
he's probably gonna win, but okay.
Mike Tyson was probably the last heavyweight champion that really everyone was interested in. Now, I promise you that there are way more people that watch Monday Night Raw than watch boxing. But
it still makes a shit ton of money.
Yeah, I don't get that. It's got to be the gambling, right?
Yeah, well, it's people buy the pay-per-views and then the gambling. But I think Mayweather makes $50 million a fight.
That's what I'm saying. It's just insane. But good for him. Hopefully, the sad part is that so many of these guys, they make all that money and it's gone in 10 years.
Yeah, well,
you got to work hard to spend $50 million, don't you think?
Well, Mayweather goes out of his way and bets $200,000 on the NBA Finals.
Yeah, but when you're making $50 million a fight, $200,000's nothing.
Yeah, but.
I don't know.
But it's all those bets, and I guarantee you're not winning most of them.
Oh, don't talk to me about that. I know a guy. He bets way more money than he actually has on UFC fights. I'll go over to this guy's house for if a UFC card is on, and he'll be he will literally be on his knees in front of the TV praying, and. I'm asking them, so how much do you have riding on this game? And it's how much do you have riding on this fight? He goes, well, if the guy I bet on loses, I'm out $8,000.
$8,000?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
And here's the thing. He is not in a position to where he can pay. It's not like he's got more money than he needs so he can afford it. No. This guy has 1 or 2 really bad UFC cards, and he's probably in debt with some bad people.
Oh. Well, I was going to ask you guys, do you bet at all, ever? I don't, because
I bet when I'm in Vegas.
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever bet was when I was in Vegas.
I don't go find a bookie.
Well, that's what I mean. The same guy that I was talking about that AHL show with, he had a bookie, which I thought was amazing at the time. I don't know why. I guess I was just that naive or something, and every week he would go around and he had all these little sheets and stuff, and he would collect everybody's bets. I guess he was kind of like the runner or whatever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know where to begin to find somebody to make bets like that.
Right, exactly. You can't just look up bookies in the yellow pages.
No. But when I lived in Syracuse and we would go to this bar to watch Browns games, and all these guys that were hanging out there, you'd hear all these people losing their minds because the Saints missed a field goal. And I'm thinking, are there that many Saints fans here? And they're like, no, they're worried about the spread.
Uh-huh.
I was just amazed at how many people bet through these bookies and stuff. I did it one time. I bet $5 on a 4-team, whatever it's called, and I won $50. And that's the last time I ever did it because I thought I'll never be this lucky again. But I just wondered if you guys ever gambled outside of, I know like people like to bet on the Super Bowl and stuff like that, but just as a rule.
Outside, no. Aside, like when I was in Vegas, and it was just like, oh, hey, you're in Vegas. You're supposed to bet. I've never done it.
Did you play the sports books while you were there, Zach?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's right. You were complaining about, you got screwed over by the CFL.
By Saskatoon. I knew they were playing Montreal, and I knew it was too big of a spread, but I thought that Saskatoon was like an offensive juggernaut, and I was going to ride with them. And then they didn't beat the spread, but it didn't matter because I lost one of the baseball games I paired it with. So
those are the words of a true gambler, folks, when he's talking about Saskatoon and the spread.
Damn it, Saskatoon!
Damn it, Saskatoon!
Damn it, Saskatoon! It crushed me.
That's going to be the name of this episode. Damn it, Saskatoon!
I can't hate on anything from Saskatchewan. They're just really nice people.
I have never met anyone from there, so I couldn't say, but I'll take your word for it.
They're simple country folk.
I've never met a Canadian that I didn't like. I'm trying to think. Have I ever met a Canadian that was a douchebag? No. Even the guys that stopped us when we were going over to Windsor one time were very nice. We went to the strip clubs there because, in Windsor, in Canada, they were fully nude. So.
Well, of course.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of, Nazi dictatorship you guys live in where...
They have some of the craziest...
What the deal is, what the rules are, is a fully nude strip club cannot serve alcohol.
Right.
Hey, baby.
Well, then that's the whole point.
That's why we would go to Windsor, because you could drink and see strippers in Windsor.
Right.
But now I've found in my personal experience, and I'm sure that everyone else's mileage may vary on this, but to me, at a strip club, it's cool for 15 minutes, and after that, it's just a bar with really expensive drinks and a bunch of naked chicks walking around. It just kind of loses its allure really quickly.
No. It definitely does. After a while, it's just like, now it's just overpriced booze and boobs, and, I can get free booze and boobs at home.
Oh, no, I mean, boobs isn't free, but you can get free boobs.
I did see a girl that I went to high school with, my second trip to this place called Jason's in Windsor. That was pretty wild. Now, I didn't know her very well. I just knew her from school. I didn't know her personally or anything, but we exchanged an odd, uncomfortable glance to each other, and it was weird.
Hey, baby.
Yeah.
That's good. that's a good one.
It's like, wow, okay, so we know what you're doing these days.
Yep.
Probably made pretty good money, though.
Yeah, they don't make as much money as you'd probably think.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think they would do okay. I don't know, though. See, that's the thing. Do they get paid, or do they just work for tips, basically?
Oh, no, I think that they get some pay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're allowed to just have women stripping and not pay them something. Not pay them a fair wage.
If any of our listeners out there happen to know the answer to these questions, please email us at basicallyasportshow@gmail.com.
You've got mail.
If you're a stripper, first, send me your rates. Secondly, email us at basicallyasportshow. Yeah, God, the last time we went to Vegas, it was for one of our friends' birthday, and he brought along one of his friends that we don't hang out with too much, but he has a ton of money, so that's fine. He can hang out with us. But they got, because the regular strippers that you try to order from escort services, I guess, are expensive. So they got strippers off of Craigslist.
Oh no!
It was a bad time.
I can imagine it would have been.
Yeah, it wasn't exciting.
So quality-wise, a Craigslist stripper, what would you say? 10 being great, 1 being terrible. Where would a stripper from Craigslist fall? On the stripper, a 4.
4.
Ooh, wow. That's rough, man.
Yeah, and the thing that sucked too, like in a vacuum, the girls themselves, they were probably about a 6.
Hey, baby.
But they had this. Their attitude was bad, and I guess they were like, we just came from this wedding party from a bunch of these Indian dudes, and they were paying us a lot of money for tips. And then you get a bunch of college kids that are not all that willing to give up a $20 bill It's just like, well, how much is a dance? 20. Well, I gotta have lunch tomorrow. And then the other guy was like, "Here, take a 20, go sit on the couch." And then they dance for you, and it's like they weren't even that good at their job, so it was just it was a bad time all around.
Well, see, that's the thing. If you're going to go with strippers, you got to go with professionals. You can't mess around with these part timers.
No, Craigslist, not the place to go.
Hobbyist
for strippers.
There's a
and they were late, and
there's a strip
like we had other places that we could have gone. But we went
there's a strip club here in good old Kitchener-Waterloo called Roxanne's, and
oh my God, I've heard of Roxanne's. Okay.
Every Monday they have a thing called Amateur Night.
Oh, that's got to be awesome.
and here's the thing: the website, they promote it as "Come jeer at the amateurs."
Oh my god!
Oh
my god!
Do they have any regulations for the amateurs, or say, could a 350-pound woman, fresh off the cart from Walmart, come in and strip?
I am not sure on the particulars.
Well, okay. There's another question for our listeners. If you could help us clear that up.
It's hilarious. It's like they try to get you in the building by promising you the ability to heckle. Oh. The amateurs.
See, now, I would feel bad if there was a, say, less than attractive woman up there stripping. I wouldn't be able to. I'd just feel bad for her.
I just wouldn't go.
Yeah, probably be the smartest move.
No. See, another thing they do is they give away free porn as a contest prize, so that's another way that they get you in.
Well, you can get porn anywhere.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. You can get free porn easily enough if you look for it. But, no, that's
I mean, if you go to the best advertisement for a strip club is always the buffet. Yeah. Free buffet. Oh, okay. The afternoon buffet at a strip club. I've never been to one.
If you're eating lunch at a strip club,
right? I can only the day shift. Probably not your best choice.
They have these strip clubs around here. I mean, they are literally pole barns that they throw together, put a stage in. And these local skanks go dance at them, and they've got, come in for our buffet. It's like if you were just a restaurant without the strippers, I still wouldn't go there. That's right. How bad these places look.
But on the flip side, if you're ever in Vegas and you need a strip club, I recommend the Sapphire. It's a good place.
Sapphire?
And if you have somebody that has some money to throw around and they buy you table service, that works.
How would you compare your experience of LAT to the Craigslist strippers?
Oh, 300% better. Like not maybe like 567% better.
Okay.
If we want to get down to it, 690% better. All right.
All right. And on that note, yeah, that was good, Zach.
Yeah.
Very
That's
good.
what I'm here for.
That's what we pay those writers
stuff
for, yeah.
Yeah.
So, shall we move on from strip clubs and the like?
Want to talk about sports?
Yeah, maybe we should do that.
All right.
We've done enough of the basically part of the show. Let's go to the sports show part of it now.
Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to do football or basketball?
Let's do. We haven't talked football really for a while. Let's do that.
All right. Well, I mean, it's not really football.
Well, wait, Mike, what do you want to do?
I could do football.
All right, football it is.
I mean, what are we going to talk about basketball? And the Heat and Spurs sleepwalked their way through another series.
That's going to be the final.
And
maybe we should do basketball. Stop it. My cat's attacking my microphone. Stop it. No, stop it. Okay, you can sit here, but you cannot bite the microphone. All right, go ahead. Get it out of your system. Go on. Hurry up.
Greg versus the cat.
He's done. Okay. Anyway, so what do we got with football?
Well, just to round up the basketball talk so we can get it over with. We talked about how the first round was pretty interesting. That is not translated to the second round.
No, not at all. The Clippers sure did.
Spurs in 5, Heat in 5, Pacers probably in 5. The Heat, the Clippers and Thunder are more just proving that neither of those teams are going to beat the Spurs.
Yeah.
It might be interesting for the moment, but the Western Finals are not going to be interesting. It's going to be Spurs.
Well, the Clippers clipped pretty hard in a game the other night, didn't they? They were up 7 with what? how many, like 51 seconds left and ended up losing?
Yeah, and then but the game before that, the Thunder were up like 20, 21 in the third quarter and ended up losing.
Oh, God.
So basically both these teams are just flailing, and the 70-year-old San Antonio Spurs are just going to stomp them.
It's going to be Heat Spurs again. Well, I don't know if the Pacers...
Maybe the Pacers are finally kind of coalescing a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe that can once they get to the Heat, they might be able to pull it out of themselves to do something with it. But
do you think that maybe part of the Pacers' problem this year was that they knew that they were essentially playing to try to get home court advantage for when they play the Heat in the finals, and that's why they kind of stumbled? I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there as a possible theory because that's going into the season. That's what everyone thought. It was going to be Pacers Heat, and whoever got home court was going to represent the East. Maybe once they get to the Heat series, they'll finally put it together.
That's what people said, but at the same time, this Pacers team has been just very underwhelming these playoffs, so I don't trust them.
Well, I'd like to see it, but it's going to be the Spurs and probably the Heat again.
Yep. And then probably the Heat.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, but that's basketball.
That's basketball. Same as it ever was. Football.
Foosball.
What do we think of the draft, real quick?
I heard the ratings were not all that spectacular.
No, the ratings for the first round were great.
It was the Johnny Manziel saga.
Right. Yeah, if Johnny Manziel gets drafted early on, the ratings probably dip. But
do you think that was what happened?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I heard that
because Manziel was sticking around.
We got to keep him on the board as long as possible, draw this thing out.
I heard that when it got to Dallas's pick at 16 and Manziel was still on the board, that the ratings, that's where they pretty much peaked. It was right there. Because people all tuned in to see if the Cowboys would pick Johnny Manziel.
Doesn't surprise me. But really, the two biggest football stories aren't really about football.
They never are.
Well, first we get Michael Sam got drafted. Didn't last all the way to the end. Got drafted in the 7th round.
Yeah, but he came damn close to.
He did.
I thought
he got picked by St. Louis.
I thought Conan O'Brien had a great take on that. This is the first time anyone's ever celebrated being drafted by the St. Louis Rams.
Well, yeah. But he goes to the hometown team with the St. Louis Rams as he played at the University of Missouri. And also gets a reality TV show.
Yeah.
Oprah's network. That
what
I
do
don't
you guys
think
think
I've watched
about
once. I think.
There are a lot of people like saying, "Oh, this ruins the whole thing," and now he's just an attention whore. I don't know.
I don't know if he's. Sorry, I don't know if he's. Sorry, the sports are boring.
It was the basketball talk. It almost put us to sleep.
Basketball's currently on ESPN, so I don't know if it's him being an attention whore. I just think he realizes too that he may not have the longest career in the league.
Right.
Yeah. He may not even make the Rams, to be perfectly honest. So if he can get some money out of this Oprah thing, and it's probably, other thing is it's probably not going to be too much stress on him because think about, have you ever seen the Oprah Network? First off,
I know it exists. It's like a baby pigeon. I've never seen it, but I've heard they exist.
I mean, Lance Armstrong did his interview a while back on Oprah's network, but it's a different demographic than your NFL fan.
Right. So
I don't think it's going to have too much of a distraction in that sense. It's going to a different way. I think it's him trying to make the most of what his situation is, and I don't blame him for that.
Mike?
I mean, look, he's like you said. He may not be in the league all that long, and truth be told, if anyone else are in his situation and saying, "Hey, I might not be an NFL player for a long time," and then someone came to you and said, "Hey, we're going to give you a bunch of money to make a reality show about your life," you in your NFL career was not a sure thing, then take the money where you can get it.
Yeah. The thing I find interesting, though, at least in regards to that, is initially I remembered hearing that he didn't even want the ESPN cameras to follow him when he was going to get drafted, so they could show, him at the house, getting the phone call and all that stuff that they show with everybody else.
Right.
He didn't want the attention, so he didn't want the cameras there in the first place. But then it turns out the cameras are there, and we can talk about that in a second. And now he's going to have cameras following him around for this show. So I wonder. I don't know if this is even him, or maybe it's the people around him, kind of like his agent or whoever else, saying, "Hey, no, you want to be on ESPN. You want to get this reality show. You want exposure. You want people to know you. You want it to be in the consciousness, so that even if your NFL career doesn't work out, you can still be known." Instead of just being, oh yeah, that was the gay guy that got drafted, but he never really made anything. But this way, he can have his name in the consciousness.
Yeah. If you get your name out there, then people will still know who he is, and you might be able to get something out of it that way. Once the football career has run its course. The thing about the cameras, the thing about Oprah and all that, how much of that is him going to how much of it is him going to Oprah and saying, hey, let's do this, and how much of it is Oprah going to him and saying, hey, let's do this? Because that's a distinction. If people want to get on Michael Sam's case for, this whole reality TV show thing, then they need to consider the fact that it's entirely possible that Oprah came to him.
Well, I was just going to say, even the dumbest TV producer in the world knows that this is a good TV show. I don't think that it was. He just woke up one day and said, "Hey, I think I want to do a reality show."
No, exactly. And if Oprah went to him, if the Oprah people came to him to ask him to do this, and you're in his spot and you're thinking, "Hey, my NFL career might not be the longest or most profitable." And these people want to give me money to turn my life into a reality show for a couple of years, sure.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing, too, is I don't even think this is Oprah going to Michael Sam. Mm-hmm. It could be their people talking to his agent.
Exactly.
And then his agent saying, hey, TV show, what do you think? Get your name out there. Keep you, public.
Well, not only that, but like you said.
Get me a cut of the money.
His career, and even if he has the average NFL career, which is what, 2.5 years, 3.5,
2.5 to 3.5, yeah.
Okay, so let's say that he makes average money for a 7th round draft pick, which I got to think is going to be maybe a little bit above league minimum, which is about $400 and some odd thousand a year.
Right.
Yeah, if you're smart and you want to take this opportunity and make the most out of it, sure, take the money, and if you plan it right, you could come out of this where you're going to be in pretty good shape. Even if you don't make the team, you still made some money off of this. You invest it right and this and that. So I don't think it's a bad move on his part. I think he's going to get a lot of there's going to be a lot of people out there that are looking for any excuse they can to come down on this guy outside of the fact that he's gay, and they're going to use this as ammunition against him. But from a financial standpoint and just the way he's going about it, I think it's a really shrewd move on his part.
And let's get back to his first appearance on camera. The kiss.
Yeah.
Made a lot of people in the sports world kind of uncomfortable because it's not something that they're used to seeing.
Yeah. And
what was your kind of thought on it? Obviously, I don't think it bothers any of us. We probably just see it as oh, that's a good thing. At first I didn't know where he was because there was too many white people around. It didn't seem like he was with his family, but then it turns out it's his agent's house or something.
Apparently, he and his family are not on the best of terms right now. So,
that's sad.
That's too bad. Obviously, now this is a really good example of the difference between the Oprah audience and the ESPN audience.
Exactly.
The Oprah audience isn't going to think twice about it, but there's going to be a large contingent of the ESPN audience that's going to freak out about it.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have you heard, I don't care if you're gay or whatever you do, just don't force it on me. And that's going to be the argument made out of this, that they forced it upon us.
Right.
And I think somebody pointed out if it had been Michael Sam and his female wife, no one would have said another word about it. It would have been nothing.
Why are you forcing your straight agenda on me?
Exactly.
Kissing your girlfriend.
So, of course, it's going to be a big deal. Of course,
we have BCS championship games where the elderly announcers ogle the players' girlfriends.
Oh my!
She's quite the young lady, isn't she?
Hey, if you're a young man in Alabama, you
want to learn to throw that football. Yeah.
Oh my!
Well, he probably has.
Okay there.
Yeah. Calm down, Brent.
Come on, Uncle Brent.
I don't know. I mean, there's the question's been raised about the Michael Sam thing. Did the NFL influence this? Did they tell someone, hey, draft this guy because we're going to look bad if we don't?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But then again,
I don't think the NFL is quite that Machiavellian.
No, and I think
if this was basketball, yes, I wouldn't put it past them. But
I think once you get down to the 7th round, I think that's a part where you do something like the Rams did. It's something for, if he turns out to be a good player, then great, you get a good player. But it's also a PR move. It helps them because he went to the University of Missouri. Where is he probably going to be the most comfortable? Where is this going to play the best?
Right.
Where
Missouri. Are they used to it?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Missouri is used to homosexuals in general.
Apparently, the football team took it surprisingly well.
Right. The football team did, but I'm talking about Missouri as a state. And
you mean the best fans in baseball?
You don't think the best fans in baseball? What if there was a gay cardinal?
I know what would happen if there was a gay cardinal because I've seen the tweets from the best fans in baseball that indicate they would not be super cool with that. And I know not all Cardinals fans are like that, and I don't mean to put y'all in the same boat, but I've seen some very ignorant crap from the supposed best fans in baseball.
It only makes sense that he can throw a good curveball because he sure can't throw straight.
Oh! Zach with another.
But
I'm just hanging out here today, guys.
If he pitched a strikeout in the World Series, then he'd suddenly become like the best gay man in baseball.
I've got news for Cardinals fans. I'm probably not going to be too far off base with this, but there are 2 gay guys in your team right now. I don't know who they are, but I promise you they're there.
It's quadruple Jesus, isn't it?
It's quadruple Jesus. That's why they call him quadruple, Mike.
God.
But yeah, I don't know. Part of me just wishes that and this is what we have to go through to get to this point where this just won't mean anything anymore. But I'm glad he got drafted.
Second highest selling rookie jersey behind our guy Johnny Manziel. Yeah.
Have you got yourself a Johnny Football jersey, Greg?
No.
Okay.
No.
And this is something we'll lead into it because this is something you wanted to talk about, Greg.
Yeah.
The just crushing despair that is Cleveland. Draft Johnny Manziel. Everything's great. We're going to have a decent offense next year. Oh, what's that? Our best wide receiver just got busted for marijuana for the second time in a year.
Yeah.
When he knew his drug test was coming up.
Well,
and he smoked anyway.
Hey.
And is going to get suspended for a full year.
Yeah.
Huzzah, Cleveland.
Well, the thing, there's that, obviously. But, I read an article about this, and the Browns knew, even when they drafted, what's his name, Gilbert, the cornerback?
Right.
They knew that Josh Gordon was looking at a suspension, even when they made that pick.
They could go get so they traded out of the pick that was Sammy Watkins.
They could have gotten Watkins, they could have gotten Evans, and they went with the cornerback instead.
Yeah.
Which is baffling, but I guess I understand it. And like Mike said last week, the NFL is such a copycat league that now with Richard Sherman and I forget the other guy with the Seahawks, they're secondary guys. Anyway,
Cam Chancellor?
Whatever, but that's, the Browns obviously are trying to, use that blueprint. We're going to get a really good secondary, so we wanted someone to match up with Joe Hayden. We'll grab Gilbert. But what irks me, they were, I guess, set on drafting Teddy Bridgewater with that pick until Manziel was still available. And, look, Johnny Manziel may be a great football player somewhere down the road. I don't think he's going to be, but I just think that Teddy Bridgewater, with the way he plays, was a better fit for the Cleveland offense than Manziel's going to be. And it wouldn't have brought near the circus and near all the nonsense that's going to go along with this.
See, that's the problem. if they had it in their mind to get Bridgewater, and then they essentially get distracted by Manziel still being available,
right?
That just says to me that the people running the show in Cleveland, and I know this probably isn't a surprise to you, Greg, but the people running the show in Cleveland don't really have a firm grasp on what they're doing.
Well, here's where it gets better, though, Mike. That's not the end of the story.
Oh,
okay.
Good.
So, all right. So the coaching staff and the people in the quote unquote war room. I can't say that with a straight face, but they were all set.
So Kevin Costner.
They were
right?
they were set to go with Bridgewater. That's who they wanted. That was their guy. So Jimmy Haslam, the new owner of the Browns, steps in and goes, "No, we want Manziel. I want Johnny Manziel." So okay.
Isn't he in jail?
Not yet.
Okay.
But so they go ahead and they take Manziel. After that, Jimmy Haslam comes out and makes a point to say, now remember, Johnny Manziel, you're just a backup. So, I mean, what the hell?
That's not going to go over.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing.
Johnny Manziel's going to be the starter in Cleveland.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Look at who they have.
Who exactly are you going to put up? Who are you going to put on the field in front of Johnny Manziel?
Well, Brian Hoyer is
Tyler's big fan.
Brian Hoyer's listening. Vince Young's gone. That lasted all of a week.
He got cut.
But here's the thing, okay? You've got your personnel people are set on Bridgewater. They think he's the best guy for the situation. The owner steps in and says, "No, I want Manziel," and I'm sure he's thinking that Teddy Bridgewater, while a great quarterback, is not going to bring near the attention Manziel does. Okay, fine.
You don't need Manziel, you need results on the field. You need to win a game.
And you may get all that with Johnny Manziel, but the thing that baffles me is that you went out of your way to impose your will on your personnel department, get this guy, and then the minute you get him, you come out and you shit all over him like that.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. And I thought, man, if that's not typical Cleveland Browns operations, then I don't know what is.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that... I didn't know that. I didn't know that that was a directive from the owner. If the owner is pulling that kind of crap, that's got Jerry Jones written all over it, and nobody wants any of that.
Well,
nobody
even Jerry Jones was smart enough to, he probably wanted Manziel, but he was smart enough to go, no, you know what? Because let's be honest about it. Anywhere Johnny Manziel goes, unless he's sitting behind Brady or Manning or Rodgers or Breeze, the minute your first-string quarterback does anything wrong, the crowd's going to be all over you to put Manziel into the game. So
and it's Cleveland, which is going to be even worse because, okay, look, he's going to be a rookie quarterback. There are going to be bumps in the road.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as he hits one, that unforgiving Cleveland fan base is probably going to turn on him.
Well, I just didn't understand it. It's like you want this guy. You go out of your way to make sure that you draft this guy, and then the minute you get him, you go, now we're going to put you in your place. We're going to smack you around a little bit and make sure that you know that you're number 2 behind Brian Hoyer. I mean, first off, no one believes that because we all know that Johnny Manziel is going to start. It's just a matter of when. It just irked me. It was like, what the hell is with this guy? And he's going to change the uniforms on top of it. So there you go.
Also, we've lost Zach.
Oh, did we?
Yes, I just noticed.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
We lost Zach there for a minute. He floated off into the
my internet keeps chopping in and out. What do you know? Our cable provider sucks. So
Time Warner,
Cox.
Whatever, same thing.
Yeah. Cox
anyway.
sucks.
Oh.
Make what you want of that.
Okie doke. What were we talking about, Mike, when we were off there for a minute?
Johnny Manziel and how you felt that it was typically Cleveland of them to tell him that he sucks right after drafting him.
Well, yeah, and then when we lost Zach, we were talking about the uniforms and how.
Yes, the some Cleveland Browns executive mentioned how he felt that the Browns would be in the same position in about a year that the Bucs are in now. In terms of uniforms and branding. So.
Oh, God, no.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, no.
That is what you have to look forward to.
That'll do it. That will absolutely do it.
Now imagine that in like slate gray and neon orange.
That's a good question. Okay, could this is going to happen with me? But I'm kind of halfway out the door anyway. But could one of your teams come up with a uniform so horrific that you just go, I can't be a fan anymore? Like if I'm a Tampa Bay fan, I'm not a Tampa Bay fan anymore.
Even if your team makes a bad uniform, if they go out and are championship contenders,
yeah,
you forget about that. Not everyone could be like, say, Montreal. And even if you're terrible, you're going to look good. Ultimately, it's like Jerry Seinfeld said. We root for laundry.
Yes, we do.
As long as that laundry is winning championships, you're going to buy a T-shirt. Or even if you don't like it, you could say, well, I don't like this, so I'm going to wear the old stuff.
I will say that when the Maple Leafs rolled out their first Edge sweaters without the hem stripes,
yeah,
I thought that looked very bad, and I said I am not going to buy a Maple Leaf sweater so long as that is the design, and I didn't.
Yeah,
I waited until they got a better sweater.
My thinking is that...
But I didn't drop the team. I didn't drop the team because they didn't have hem stripe.
I think the difference, too, with, say, the Cleveland Browns is you're saying that that's it? Like, that would be the last straw? Because there's been a lot of things that built up to that.
Right, there's a lot of other straws that came before that. It's not like if the Packers change uniforms tomorrow, I'd be like, that's it.
And for the Browns, you have to keep in mind that they're not really the old Cleveland Browns. They're an expansion team using the look. And so in a lot of ways, the fact that they still wear the same uniforms as the old Browns is sort of the last link to that era. And if they cut that, then I wouldn't blame anyone who say, now that the uniforms have changed, there's nothing about this team that reminds me of the old Browns teams of old, so I'm out. Well, I wouldn't blame anyone for that.
I've said it numerous times over the year and a half we've been doing this that as hard as I've tried, it's never been the same as the old team. I was telling, we're talking about uniforms. I was thinking about this today when I was over on the boards, and there was this thread about the most popular retro stuff, and I was telling Mike when we were cut off there, Zach, if the Rams move back to Los Angeles and go back to the blue and white uniforms, they might become my second favorite team. Just because I think that would be so cool.
I don't think they're going to drop the gold. I think
I don't know. They're talking about it.
If they go to anything, it'll be to the royal blue and nothing.
I don't know. There are a lot of people in the Rams hierarchy who seem to like that blue and white.
It's taken a while, but they're coming around to my way of thinking. You see, they said, "What does that guy that owns the Packers think about our look?" And I said, "Well, here's what I think. I think you need to go back to the blue and white."
You just told Stan Kroenke at like the last owners get together, right?
I did,
yeah.
Yep.
And you're like, hey, Stan, one owner to another. Let me tell you what you need to do with your uniforms.
I gave him my thoughts, and then I was escorted out by security. Anyway.
Any
more draft stuff?
No more draft stuff. One more football thing.
Okay.
Our good friend Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, yes.
Indicted on double murder. Now, the interesting part about that is not necessarily that he got indicted on another murder charge. It's the fact that he got indicted on a murder that occurred in July of 2012, which means that he played an entire NFL football season.
Holy shit.
After killing 2 people.
Allegedly. You got to be one cold dude to be able to pull that off.
Right. You one July, you can just go kill 2 people. Allegedly.
And then go to training camp.
And answer media questions and just move on about your life and catch touchdowns and all that sort of stuff.
Well, you want to, it's the United States and you're supposed to give him the benefit of the doubt until he's proven guilty, but I don't have to do that. I'm not on the jury. I think he did it. The hell with it.
Yep.
And
yeah.
But isn't this the perfect example, though, of one of the biggest issues with the NFL? This guy, now granted, no one knew he had killed those 2 people, but no one seems to be getting nearly as bent out of shape about all this as they are about Michael Sam. And I just think, what the hell is the deal here?
Well, and to extend that further, and this is another thing we could have talked about with Cleveland. Josh Gordon getting suspended for a full year for smoking weed.
Yeah.
But somebody
Dante
kills somebody.
Stallworth,
Dante Stallworth runs over a man with a car.
Yep.
Ray Lewis rumoredly not proven to, but probably maybe did.
Probably stabbed a man to death in a nightclub.
I won't go that far, but he certainly was there when it happened.
He was certainly there when it happened, and his print was partially found on the stabbing weapon.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, no, they got basically the way that the handle of that knife is. Basically, the texture of it made it hard to get a full print. They got a partial print that matched him.
Oh, wow.
But it wasn't enough to get a conviction. But
plus, didn't he make a plea deal, too? Where, like, if he turned evidence on the guys he was with, that they would cut him some slack, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
The NFL has a messed up moral system.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to. Wait a minute. Did I have anything else I wanted to get to before we go to the tabs? I had a couple of things written down here.
Do you want to talk about? Is there anything baseball-wise that you can think of?
If I knew anything about baseball, I'd be happy to talk about it. This hockey thing has. I haven't even looked at the baseball standings. Right now, I can't tell you who's. I think the Brewers are in first place, and that's the only one I know for sure. Okay, are we ready to move on to Zach's tabs? Yes! Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's tabs.
Oh, we're not going to go over the MLB standings?
Oh, well, yeah, let's do that.
Who does Greg think is in first place?
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's play. Who does Greg think is in first place? Just to show you how far I have drifted away from my favorite sport this year.
How about the American League East?
Ooh, I'm going to say. Let me think. Who's in that division? I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles.
They are in first place by a full half game.
Get out of here.
Yankees. And surprisingly, I think we all picked Tampa Bay to win the East.
Yeah.
They're in last place.
Of course.
3.5 games. But hey, Mike, your Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Game and a half back.
Woo!
Game under 500.
This is sad for me. It really is. Today's May the 15th, 16th?
Yep.
And I got to be honest with you guys, I bet you I've maybe watched 2 hours of baseball since opening day. Now, I watched a lot on opening day, but you two have dragged me so deeply into this hockey thing that I don't even pay any attention to baseball right now. I
catch the whoever the Angels are trying to put as their closer blow games from time to time, but that's as much as I got. Let's see. Okay,
stay by the phone because I'm sure they'll be calling us any minute now.
AL Central.
I'm going to say Detroit.
Detroit is indeed by 5.5 games over Kansas City.
Okay.
Cleveland, who we thought was going to be a surprise, maybe build on last year's success.
Nope.
They're in last place, 7 games back.
That I knew because you hear people bitching about them around here.
The AL West.
Okay, this one's going to be tricky. It's not Houston.
It's not the Astros.
We know that. It's not the Angels. Oakland?
Oakland is in first.
See, I don't need to watch. I'm so
Oakland
ingrained.
is 3 games up on the Halos, and the Halos 3 games over 500. And while we're at it, who are your 2 wild card teams?
Oh, wow. Now you've really. Okay, I'm going to say the Angels are 1.
The Angels are first place in the wild card race.
And the second team is.
I'll give you a hint. It used to be a big rivalry in the late 70s in the American League East. Or was it? Were they both in the East? It was in the American League. A game that's very famous for pine tar.
The Royals?
The Royals and Yankees are tied for the second wild card position.
Okay. All this is proving is that I don't even need to watch baseball.
So let's go over to the National League, see if you're still on it. Who is first place in the National League Eastern Division?
Let's see. I'm going to go with the Braves.
The Braves, brand new stadium and all. Game and a half on top of the Nats. And some
brand
news
new
out of the
stadium.
Well, they're going to get one next year. They released
okay. Never mind. I was like, wow, I'm really out of touch.
Baseball Stadium Z.
I'm really out of touch. They moved, and I didn't even know it. Okay.
Their new baseball stadium, away from all those black people in the city.
And I just want to point out to our listeners, as God is my witness, I'm not looking at standings. These have all been guesses that I've just gotten right.
The other news out of the NL East, Miami had a surprising
playing pretty good ball.
They're 2 games out. Unfortunately, Jose Hernandez, their big stud, Tommy John surgery.
Oh, no.
There's been a lot of guys. There have been a lot of guys who have needed that this year.
Oh, man, I just put him on the DL on my baseball team today. I guess I got to cut him now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a keeper league, right?
Yeah.
Probably keep him. He's going to be good.
We only got 8 keepers, though.
Oh, well.
So,
National League Central, you already picked it. It's your Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, that was the one I knew. 5
games up on the Cards.
I don't know if the Brewers...
I think Cardinals are going to card so hard and get in.
The Brewers, they weren't that bad. I know that they were like a playoff team, and then they kind of trailed up, but I don't think they fell as far as people thought they did, so they might be able to keep this up.
And how about the West?
Okay, the National League West. Giants, Dodgers.
Guess what? It's pretty much what I picked at the beginning of the year.
Giants?
Giants in first. Rockies in second.
Wow.
The Dodgers are in third.
See, now I would have picked the Dodgers, just without you cluing me in there. I would have said the Dodgers. So the Giants, huh?
Giants 3.5 up on Colorado.
Well, when we did the baseball show, we talked about how we thought the Giants were going to bounce back this year.
Yep, Giants bounce back. And Arizona in the cellar. San Diego only 7 games out. Let's see. Who is the wild card in the National League?
Let's see.
We just talked about them. Literally just said their names.
The Dodgers? The Rockies?
The Dodgers. The Rockies are first place in the wild card. They are a game up on the Nationals and Dodgers, who are tied.
Okay.
But, yeah.
I don't even need to watch. I can just kind of guess my way through.
Right. So if the playoffs started today, you'd have the Angels. Looks like they'd be playing the Royals in the wild card. And the Rockies would be playing the Nationals in the wild card.
Just think if the Angels had even a semblance of a bullpen.
No, that's what's so frustrating. They're 3 games back at Oakland. They have their starting pitching has been great. They've been hitting the ball. They've been scoring runs, playing great defense.
Albert Pujols is back, having a good year.
Albert Pujols is exactly who we thought he was going to be finally. Yep. But their bullpen's so garbage.
That's what I mean.
So bad.
Give them not even a good bullpen, mind you, just a serviceable bullpen with a closer that's halfway decent, and look out.
Like if they, we talk about the WAR stat, above the replacement level.
Yep.
If the Angels had a replacement level bullpen, they would probably be in first place. And, they might just be first place in the whole damn league if I'm looking at the numbers right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I can't tell you. I've watched. I've tuned in here and there. I can't tell you the number of games where I check on the Angels, they'd be winning. I'd come back an hour and a half later and they were losing.
Yeah,
and we're not talking like a 2-1 game here. We're talking like they'd be up 5-1 and end up losing.
I know, and I haven't been to any of the games this year yet because hockey.
Right.
But
you even go for free hat night?
No, I have plenty of Angels hats. But no, my family, they'll go to the game and they'll enjoy themselves, and then all of a sudden we start blowing it in the 7th inning, and I mean we never leave games early, but they leave in the 7th because they just know it's like
they don't want to watch.
As soon as the first domino falls, it's like, oh, it's not. No, we're leaving. This isn't going to happen. And so it kind of sucks. So hopefully they can make some moves, maybe call somebody up, make a trade or something.
That's what I was just going to say. I mean, there's got to be at least an arm or two in the farm system that can at least do as well as what they've got right now. And maybe even if you can get a little bit better out of the people over what you've got now, that's got to be a huge improvement.
The thing that's just so frustrating is this is entirely Artem Moreno's fault. Because he personally signed the contracts for Pujols and Hamilton, and then goes back to Jerry Dipoto, the general manager, and says, "Here, I spent all your money on like 4 guys. Use the rest of it to put together a pitching staff."
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
To Dipoto's credit, he's made something of it, but I think we've had 3 closers already between Ernesto Frieri and Joe Smith, the most generically named person on the planet, Joe Smith.
Well, and the thing is, too, is that Frieri, there was talk that he was going to be pretty good.
And he had a good first year, and then he sucked.
Well, that's the thing with
then he started blowing it up.
You can't depend on a closer from year to year. You can't assume with a closer is what I should say.
Closers are one of the most replaceable positions in all baseball. And the thing that sucks, too, is some of the games the Angels have lost, it'll be a tie game going into the ninth inning. And I've continually said this, no matter what the team is, never put your closer in a tie game in the ninth inning because that's not what they're used to. They're not there to just hold on. They're there to close out the game and win.
That's across baseball. I've seen that with so many teams. It just doesn't work.
Especially with Ernesto Frieri. If it's a tie game in the ninth inning, you're putting him in, he's going to give up a home run, and you're going to lose. So it's a kind of a waste.
Ironically, I'm wearing my Angels alternate jersey tonight as we do the show.
Ah, the red?
Yes. One of my favorites.
Does this one have the redundant sleeve patches?
No, it has no patches on it whatsoever.
That's the one I have as well.
Just Angels across the front. That's it.
To the tabs.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's tabs.
Zach's tabs.
Okay, let's go. Tabs.
You feel good.
Hold on.
Oh, no.
No, what the hell? Where'd my tabs go? Oh, okay, here we go. Mitch Williams.
Hey.
Got ejected from a Little League baseball game.
Awesome.
Ooh, keep it classy, Mitch. Keep it classy.
For apparently yelling and getting in the face of the umpire. Some of these pictures are great. I'm going to send you the link.
Oh, good.
It has the pictures of him up in the face of the umpire.
Oh, my God. What's this going to do to his job at MLB?
Oh, probably nothing. Apparently,
oh, no, Mitch, what are you doing?
He says it was the umpire's fault, that the umpire got into his face. The umpire says that he got in his face. But I guess the Little League talked with Mitch Williams. They also determined that, well, the umpire should have been more professional. Well, it's like, well, you shouldn't have gone after him, but the umpire should have been more professional. So nothing's going to come of it. But at first he was suspended from this tournament, the Cal Ripken Little League tournament down in Maryland.
Mitch Williams called an umpire a mother in front of children. Nice job, Mitch.
Keep it classy.
I'll tell you what.
Keep it classy.
If these 10-year-old Little Leaguers are anything like I was, they swear more than anybody, so don't worry about it. There's a cat named Eli Manning up for adoption if anybody's interested.
Oh, God.
The New York Knicks spurned Steve Kerr going to the Warriors.
What, did anybody think he was going to go to the Knicks? I mean, really?
The Knicks thought he was going to the Knicks.
Yeah, but think about it for a second. Anything you do, anything good's going to be credited to Phil Jackson. Anything bad's going to be blamed on you. It's a no-win situation.
Yeah.
That's true.
Plus, the Warriors are the better team.
Yes, that's true. Damn it. Okay, here we go. I guess I must have accidentally clicked off some of these.
Zach's tabs off to a rough start tonight, folks.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Okay, so this website called Sport Chart, they determined they took all the players in 3 of the major leagues, the NHL, NBA, MLB, and determined where in the world they come from. And they made maps to show where all these guys come from. So, of all the players in the National Hockey League, what percentage come from Canada?
I heard something around 60%, I think.
I was going to say 92%.
According to this year's NHL rosters, 50.5% were born in Canada. Now, it's an interesting distinction to make because it's born, because you have somebody like Robin Regeer, born in Brazil.
You don't hear a lot of guys from Brazil playing in the NHL.
No.
Owen Nolan was born in Northern Ireland.
He was.
I remember Owen Nolan.
Yeah.
Didn't he,
let's see.
Didn't he play for the Nordiques for a while?
I think he did. Also the Sharks.
Okay, yeah.
He was Captain Shark for a while. Going around your area, Mike, how many NHLers do you think come from London?
I know London has a bit. Eric Lindros was from London, obviously. I know Jeff Carter is.
Current NHL players.
Jeff Carter's from London. I know that.
That would be 10.
10, huh?
10.
Is that a lot?
Toronto leads the way with 24 NHLers from its city limits. Ontario, 43.8% of the Canadians in the league. Alberta, 14.8%. Quebec, 12.2%.
Wow, you're not kidding, Mike. You are right in the middle of hockey, aren't you?
Yes.
Let's see. In the United States, what do you think are the top 3 states for hockey producing?
Okay, I know this. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Minnesota's got to be one.
Minnesota is number one, 19.9%.
I'm going to say Wisconsin?
No.
No. New York.
New York is third with 13.3.
And, wow, what would be another good state for hockey in the U.S.?
It's like a mid.
Michigan. I was going to say Michigan.
Michigan, 16%.
I would have thought Massachusetts would have been up there.
Yeah, I was surprised Michigan's as high as it was.
Yep. And then what European country is the third...
Mother Russia.
Third highest NHL producing country?
Spain.
No.
Czech Republic.
No, its capital city produced 11 NHL players.
Amsterdam.
No.
All right. Wait, that's a city, right?
It's a Scandinavian country.
Oh, no.
Sweden.
Sweden is indeed the answer. Let's see. NBA. What percentage of the NBA do you think is American?
94.
79.9.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of European players. Let's see. State with the most basketball players. Is that on there?
Yes.
I'm going to go with California.
California, 16%.
Florida.
Nope. Florida is not in the top three.
California,
I'll give you a hint. It's the top three media markets in the country.
New York. It's California, New York, Illinois.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Outside of the United States, what is the highest producing basketball country?
Spain.
No.
Italy.
Germany?
No. You're in the right part of Europe.
France.
France, 1.7%.
France? Okay.
7%. And apparently right behind them with 1.3%.
Toronto!
Spain.
Canada.
There you go, Mike.
How about that?
Steve Nash.
Woo! And the last one, baseball.
Okay, this is going to get interesting.
This map is really interesting because there's a lot of hot spots in the Americas. Then you have like 2 dots over in Germany. Like 8 or 9 or a few dots over in Japan, Korea, a couple in Taiwan.
Lay out the criteria here. What are we looking for? Like
players
from
highest. Well, what do you think the percentage for America is?
Oh,
the United
probably
States
in the 40s.
72.8%.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprises me.
We're still the kings of baseball.
Okay.
At least in terms of MLB players produced.
Dominican Republic's got to be a close second, right?
Dominican is second with 10.3%.
Then it must get spread out all over the place after that.
Oh, well, the next one is 6.9%. South America.
Venezuela?
Venezuela.
Okay.
In the United States, who do you think makes the most baseball players?
California, not without a doubt.
22%.
Yep.
Second place?
New York.
Nope.
No, I'd say Texas.
It gets too cold to play year-round. Texas.
Yep.
11.5%. And third, again, think of warm all year round. Florida, 10.6%.
Wow. I'm surprised that the percentage for America was as high as it is. I thought it would be a lot lower than that.
No, I mean we're still the biggest. You know, it's still, despite the come ups in the game of the Dominican and Venezuela. I mean, we still have the most people playing baseball.
And how come you guys can't win the World Baseball Classic?
Because we don't give a shit about it.
Right. That's it. Well, and
because you've got Americans like me rooting for the Netherlands, and
well, I think it's also we fill the most spots. But you think of the Hispanic stars that are in MLB right now. So we make the majority of the teams, but we're filling out bullpens and utility guys and starting rotations and stuff like that. Flappy Bird is coming back.
Oh, my God. Who the hell
Flappy Bird?
cares?
You guys don't know about Flappy Bird?
Mike, help me out here.
I don't know.
Okay.
You don't know about Flappy Bird?
Is this Farnsworth?
No.
Okay. I don't know.
Sorry. We'll go back to hockey for a second. Game 7 in Montreal, Boston the other night.
Yeah.
Of course, it's sold out in Boston. Big ticket.
Yeah.
Montreal also sold out the Bell Center.
Cool.
21,000 plus Canadians fans at $12 a ticket got seats in the Bell Center to watch the game on the Jumbotron.
Let's stop there for a second. Would you guys do that?
I did it in 2007 when the Ducks went to the final. I went up and watched the game at Game 3 in the pond.
See,
Mike,
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. If the game is out of my market, then I'm gonna watch it at home. I'm gonna order a pizza.
But you're not gonna watch it. You're not gonna watch it with a bunch of other fans and be part of the experience.
No, see, I'll invite friends over, so like we'll have an experience.
I would absolutely do that. Like, say if the Blue Jackets made the Stanley Cup Finals, I would go down to Nationwide and watch a game with all the fans. I think it'd be cool.
I was gonna say that the Canadians, they know how to do a goddamn impressive light show when it comes to their pregame.
Yeah, have you seen that?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's cool.
Yeah,
there's a video of it somewhere, but it's cool.
But yeah, I would absolutely do that. That would be fun.
Also, speaking of hockey, we talked about the Rangers and how they were frustrating Sidney Crosby.
Yes.
Towards the end of Game 6, there was a scrum around the net. Henrik Lundqvist is going to grab his water bottle and skate off the ice. As he's skating by the pile, he just squirts the entirety of his water bottle all over Sidney Crosby.
Oh.
And what do you think his punishment was for this?
Fined $5,000.
$5,000 fine for squirting a water bottle. Come on.
Don't squirt Sid. Just because he scored the game-winning goal against you in the Olympics.
Okay. We really need to put an expiration date on that thing.
When he stops doing it, I'll stop talking about it.
The NCAA, not completely evil.
No, but it almost was.
There's a football player on their team, currently homeless.
Yeah.
And at the request of Boise State, they're going to provide assistance to the man.
But they almost weren't going to.
They almost weren't going to.
To me just was absurd.
But yeah.
Well, good.
I agree.
They've really got to fix this whole thing with the NCAA. It's just stuff like that should never even happen.
They need a new ideology. Like they just need to give up on this whole idea of the amateur student athlete and go from there.
Well,
that's the first step. Once you admit that is a fallacy, then it makes reform so much easier.
Well, who was the guy that said he went to bed hungry at times? I can't remember the player.
Oh, it was
It was a basketball player,
Shabazz,
right?
Or no, not Shabazz Napier.
Yeah, he's for Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yeah, I said he went to bed hungry at night, and I mean, come on. I understand if you don't want to pay these guys $150,000 a year or whatever. Fine, I get that, but can't we all agree that okay, they're bringing in all this revenue to your university? At least let them eat whenever they want. I mean, is that too much to ask?
There was a surprise winner in the English Premier League last weekend.
That's
Championship Sunday.
That's that soccer thing, right?
That's that soccer thing.
Okay.
Premier soccer league in the world.
Yes, Manchester City, after being in third place for a good majority of the time, due to some late losses and draws by Liverpool and Chelsea.
You just lost Greg with draws.
Yes,
the home team scoring at will,
Manchester
1-0.
Manchester City is your champions over the EPL.
Wow.
How did Crystal Palace do?
Remember, it's the table, not standings.
I will say this: soccer is fun
Crystal
to play
Palace,
on a video game.
Solid mid-table club, 11th place out of the 20 teams. So, of the 20 teams, 3 teams get to be kicked out of the league next year.
Who gets kicked out?
Norwich City. I'm pronouncing it right now. Norwich, not Norwich. Norwich. Fulham, which is a team in London, so London loses one of its 5 teams.
Oh, I'm sure they'll get on just fine, like the 4 that they have.
I got to see who are the teams that could move up because relegation, promotion, and Cardiff City.
You know what? Fulham's logo always kind of pissed me off, so screw them.
I always thought Fulham had a pretty neat stadium. It's called White Cottage.
Okay, the British have the best stadium names. It'll be like Old Trottingsworth Road.
Well, like Manchester United is Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Fulham, where does Fulham play? Sorry, they play at Craven Cottage.
You guys don't mind if I catch a quick nap while we're doing this, do you?
Hey now. Hey,
what? Does FC Dallas got anything to do with this?
No, FC Dallas does not have anything.
Why FC? I would have pegged you as a Columbus Crew man, Greg.
No, man. FC Dallas has got a badass logo.
I do like their logo.
That's awesome. I want to get one of their hats, but see, I've got a dilemma. It's like I love their hats and their logo,
But you hate soccer.
But it's like, I can't wear a soccer hat. You know, I don't know. I'll get back to you on it.
Let's see. Who are the top
and
three?
When we did the logo cast, we talked to their what was he, their media guy? Eric DeVilliers was his name. He was cool.
I find that episode hilarious in retrospect, Greg, because I mean, you're talking to him and you're like, "Oh yeah, I might give this thing a chance," and then on the show you're like, "No." So obviously there is a point between the two where you did try to give soccer a chance and it just didn't stick.
It's just, you know, I will say this: as the years have gone by, I've mellowed on it some. Like, I get why people would like it, and I won't make too much fun of you for being a soccer fan. But it's just never been able to grab me. I don't know what it is about it. It's just maybe, you know, I get why people like it. I understand that a lot of people do like it, but it just doesn't do anything for me. And I apologize to all soccer fans, but that's just the way it is.
The way I kind of look at it, especially the EPL, there are teams I like in the EPL, but I couldn't begin to tell you that I followed the league because I really don't. And it's not like I actively avoid it. It's just that it never comes up where I'm able to really follow it. So, like, I like Tottenham and I like Crystal Palace just for superficial reasons. But, you know, outside of that, I'll be happy if they do well, but I can't say I followed the teams or the league any.
I will say this Fulham Football Club Stadium looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not bad. But see, now when we go to Columbus and I drive by the Crew Stadium, I'm always like, man, what a waste of a great facility.
And then the teams that are fighting to move up into the Premier League, in case you're curious.
Oh, and I am. Trust me. I'm just.
So this would be the Football League.
This would be
one,
the
right?
championship. No, League One is actually the third division.
Oh, wow.
It goes Premiership, Championship, then League One, League Two. So in the Sky Bet Championship, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, and I'm sorry, England. Leicester.
Leicester. They don't pronounce the Chesters over there.
It's Leicester.
Yeah, it'd be Leicester.
Leicester City.
There you go.
They won the table, so they get to go automatic promotion. And then
Do they
then
get
they
chairs to go with that.
Any what?
They need chairs to go with their table.
But then the championship actually has playoffs to determine who gets to move on up.
So I just want to step in at this point, and again, I'm going to go out to our listeners. Email us and tell me if you liked talking about soccer or not. I will be fair though. When the World Cup starts, I will happily talk about it.
No, we will watch soccer once the World Cup comes.
No, I'm not going that far. I will talk about it.
You're gonna get in love with soccer. Come the World Cup.
Okay, if I do that, I will give you my motorcycle.
I don't want your motorcycle.
I don't care. I'll give it to you anyway, just to show you how sure I am that it won't happen. Why don't you want my motorcycle? It's awesome.
I'm not a motorcycle person. Anyway,
it's a Harley.
The last thing, because I'm kind of stretching it thin. The last thing is.
Oh, you mean you weren't stretching it thin with all that soccer?
This was important stuff, Greg. Anyway, after Montreal.
Wait, we've got two British listeners. I apologize, guys. You probably did find that interesting, so go ahead, Zach.
And they're probably going to help me understand the way that stuff works in the thread. So
good.
Look forward to that. Anyway, it's a crossover between us and our friends at Basically a Geek Show.
Oh, here we go.
The new Batmobile and Batsuit have been revealed.
Yes, I actually wanted to ask you, Zach, your thoughts on it.
The Batmobile looks fine. The Batsuit is fine. I hate the short ears. I've hated the short ears versions of Batman in any version of the comics. It makes him look kind of like a pit bull.
It also kind of
looks like a bat.
It also makes him look like Adam West.
Makes him look like Adam West. It makes him look kind of short and stubby.
Yeah.
Not very intimidating.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're trying to base it off of the Dark Knight Returns suit, and in that comic, he has the shorter ears. But I hate the shorter ears. It's not intimidating. It's not even that it's not intimidating. It just doesn't look good.
No, he looks like a kitten or something with the ears like that. It just doesn't work.
When I think of bats, I think of these huge ears, these big pointy ears, not these little kind of cat ears. So the suit is great. I actually like the big logo on the chest. I think the
do like the logo.
Pretty badass. But I would just like longer ears.
Now, To me, it looks like they're kind of going for maybe a New 52 look, like Batman's current comic book.
It looks kind of like that, but even in the comic book, the ears are still a little bit taller than that.
Yeah,
Batmobile looks pretty good.
Batmobile does look.
See, but here's the thing: I really liked the Tumbler. Going with like a more traditional Batmobile design is just going to be weird after the Tumbler.
Well, you know what? This kind of looks like a cross between a Tumbler and a traditional Batmobile design. Though.
Yeah,
it looks more tankish.
Yeah, the suit's cool.
I guess the best way to describe this, I mean, we've been talking about New 52, Dark Knight Returns. I'd say that this suit, the best way for a layman to understand what this suit looks like in contrast to previous suits is this is more of a Batman the Animated Series take on the costume. Short ears aside. But yeah, I mean, this isn't in color, obviously, but I suspect this is actually going to be mostly gray when we do get it in color.
Yeah, it's probably just going to be gray with black logo and
black logo, black gloves, black
which
cape.
I like that look.
Yeah, that'll be a cool look. Is that Affleck in the suit?
Yeah, it looks like I guess that's his chin. That is Affleck's chin.
Yeah,
well, he doesn't look entirely ridiculous.
It's not the look that people were potentially worried about. It's Ben Affleck, actor.
Come on, he's not that bad.
A lot of people are still hesitant over his depiction in Daredevil.
Yeah, I think that was years ago.
Before we end the show, can I just talk a little bit about the cat named Eli Manning that's up for adoption?
Okay.
Well, you can either talk about that one or the cat that saved the boy from the dog.
Let's talk about that one, because that cat kicked some serious ass. Did you see that, Mike?
Yes.
That cat was not messing around.
No, my cat is afraid of the squirrel that hangs out on my balcony.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny, because like my two cats, like
my God,
my Calico, she is afraid of her own shadow. The other little dude, the one that was trying to chew my microphone off my face earlier, he's fearless. He growls if somebody knocks at the door. He's ready to just I'll fuck up anybody. I don't care who it is.
My cat will go to the sliding glass doors that you use to get to my balcony, and the squirrel will be sitting on the balcony, and my cat will stalk it. But then if the squirrel actually turns to address the cat, he'll run away.
But yeah, that was a pretty cool video. That cat that saved the little kid from the dog. You don't see that every day.
Yeah, no. That cat is that is the king of cats.
I mostly think of cats being emotionless kill machines.
Not at all.
That could not care about anything but their own, nap.
You've never had a cat, have you?
Oh, I've had plenty of cats.
Really?
Yeah.
Because my cats have all. I've had 4 of them now.
Oh my God! Who the hell?
Well, no,
cares?
Okay, I've had cats, and some of the time they'll be loving. They'll want to come up and cuddle with you. Other times they're just here, my tail's up there. Look at my ass because I hate you.
Well, no, when they show you their butts like that, that's actually a sign of great respect in the cat world. That's high praise. They're like, you are so cool. I'm going to show you my ass. That's how they look at it. I read that in the book. I'm dead serious. I'm not making a joke.
No.
We've passed soccer into talking about cats. It's time to wrap up the show, don't you think?
Oh, thank God.
BasicallyASportsShow.com is the website. Email us at BasicallyASportsShow@gmail.com. And listen to us on Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher. That's all I got. You guys got anything else?
I'm good.
Go Ducks.
Go Ducks. And for God's sakes, let Zach come out of this on the other side sane and with a win.
I may not be on the podcast next week. Just so
You know what, guys? Go Ducks. I'm with you, Zach.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
We are a united front.
Against.
Hey. That was who I thought was going to win, not who I want to win. There's a difference.
Yeah.
I'm only stating who I want to win. I'm getting out of the prediction business because I really did feel bad that I made that prediction and then it didn't come true. With that, we're going to call it a night. We'll see you all next time.
See ya. Go Ducks.
Go Ducks.
Go Ducks.
Please hang up and try again.